head after him with the carrier and capture him on the ground. It's our chance to find out the purpose of Operation M.
Any chance he'll blow himself up?
He's made it all the way to Earth. He's not going to commit suicide before setting foot on it.
Spotted a hostile soldier in your AO. Over.
Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back. So we are back today. Today is a special stream. So today we're not going to be breaking it off like how we normally would. We'd be playing the games, you know what I mean? We get everything going. Today I'm going to introduce you to someone who we've had a history with, and not only just a basic history, but you know, a little feud, a little bit of beef, whatever you would like to call it. And today is going to be the day we get to talk one-on-one and get to settle our disputes, or get to understand each other's point of view. So I thought it'd be interesting to kind of do this little 60-minute interview with Lemon Zester. All right, buddy. So without further ado, here we go. All right, sorry, buddy. I had to put you on mute for a moment, so everyone should be able to hear you now. So Lemon
Oh,
Zester,
okay, okay.
the infamous Lemon Zester. Here he is. All right, so tell us about yourself. I just want to know a little bit about yourself. Go and let people know who you are.
Who am I?
Exactly.
That's quite the question to start off. Okay, I mean, everybody knows Lemon Zester, Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4 player, mostly Battlefield 3. I don't know, I've been playing for more than 10 years now at this point. Little BF3.
Right.
It's my favorite game. Personal wise, I'm from Boston, so if
Okay.
y'all are ever in Boston, just come through, say hi to me. Yeah,
Okay.
been playing with a lot of players for a lot of years, and yeah, just excited to be here, Mr. Anthony's live stream tonight, answering a few questions. We'll see how it goes.
Awesome, man. So what do they do? What do they call them in Boston? They call them hoagies, or they call them heroes?
They call them hoagies a little bit.
Oh, okay. Because that's what I personally like. I like the hoagies.
Yeah.
So that's cool, man. Awesome. All right, fantastic. We know a little bit about you. You mentioned you played Battlefield 4. That's my next question. Like, how long did you play Battlefield 4?
When BF4 came out, I was part of this clan called Lost Clan, and then basically they had this infrastructure. We had about like 1,500 members. There was like a whole rank system to the clan. We were basically playing, so it was different divisions. Like each like brand new FPS title had a separate division that you could hop into and like play with the members. So long story short, they made a new one for BF4, and it was kind of split because we had about like 80, like 110 people on BF3. Like half of them jumped over to BF4, and like half of us stayed on BF3. So I want to say I played BF4 for like maybe like half a year or something. Really wasn't for me, especially with the bad launch. So I mean, we were still cooking on BF3 pretty good, so just kind of stayed on there. The rest is history.
Okay. All right. So is that clan still active today, or?
No, that clan broke apart. I want to say like 2016-ish, something
Oh.
like that. Yeah.
And what was the name of that clan one more time?
So that was called Lost Clan.
It's
It was
called
Legion of Strategic Terror.
of Strategic
Yeah, it
Terror.
sounds dramatic, yeah. But long story short, the whole idea behind that, I wasn't like the founder. I wasn't anywhere near like being like in the upper ranks of that. So you would have to show up twice a week, and then you would do like training,
Right.
basically, and like scrims and stuff.
Right.
It was like a semi-pro to like pro level clan for like different games. Obviously, like the skill for the players was different, different levels depending on the game. Like BF3, they used to run with some of those guys from like Evil Clan, like Carlos Evil and Mindshift and all those guys
Right.
back in the day. So yeah, it was a fun time.
Okay. Okay. It's pretty interesting. So, but you weren't at the level that you are currently when you were in that clan. Am I
No,
right, or?
no. I was like in training. It's like Star Wars. They had the
Right.
little, the little mentee or whatever. I was
Right.
getting trained twice a week. You'd hop on a couple hours.
Right. Well, that's my next question. So how long, what really got, like, what got you into Battlefield? Like, what was it that was like, all right, this is it. I'm gonna invest my time into this game and play
What got
competitively.
me into Battlefield? That's a good question. It's actually a funny story because it ties into somebody who's like very notorious in the community right now. Um, so I used to trick shot on Call of Duty. I was like pretty good and like I would do like six mans and stuff. I remember like BF3 came out and like I played it a little bit with some of my personal friends. But I was still trick shot. We would trick shot with some people that like they had connections with FaZe Clan, like Sword Clan back in the day. I was in like this game, some like random game. I put any on BF3 one day, and I was in game chat, and there was this dude called 80s Trash. And then long story short, we were losing by like a mile. Like back in the old school days, you would run like 700 ticket metros because people would freeze on Xbox all the time.
Right.
We were down, I want to say like 500 to like 95 or something like that. We won. I didn't really know what I was doing too much. Like I wasn't at my
Right.
like level that I am now. But this dude on game chat, he's like, "Oh, dude, like, yeah, you're kind of like new to the game." I wasn't even like a colonel back then. I was like almost like brand new. Um, he's like, "I know you're new to the game, and like, there's somebody I want you to meet. He's really good. He knows like all like the best players. He's not online tonight, but he's gonna be online tomorrow.
Right.
So like he like added me, and I added him. And then long story short, that guy ended up being camped.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, and the rest is history, as they say.
And what year was this? Like when you had started, or when you were telling that
Uh,
story? Do you know?
when
Recollect?
I got off of Call of Duty, I want to say that was about. I had a different account back then, but when I hopped on this account on like BF3 legit, I want to say that was like 2012-ish, like
2012.
2013, yeah, around there. Yeah, I had a different account. I used to play Call of Duty with some people,
Right.
but yeah.
I see. 2012. That's crazy. So, and you're really young. I can imagine at that age. Because I remember how old I was. I don't tell people how old I am, but you know what I mean. I already know how old you are, and you know, you've already told me. We don't have to disclose that here, but you know what I mean. I would imagine you were pretty young at that time.
Yeah, I was
Um,
pretty young. It's kind of funny how things work out. It's like you like live your like real life and then you get online and then you kind of grow you grow and get older with all these people, these like online people. It's kind of
right.
funny.
Yeah. Exactly. That that's what makes it like a nice close community at the end of the day. That's cool, man. So, man, so yeah, that's right. So you played Call of Duty. So it was Call of Duty, and then but when that's the thing. So I had an experience. I tell this story, back in the day when I had first got Battlefield 3, and I wasn't really much of an FPS player. I was still a PC player at the time. I wasn't really like a controller, but I would play on controller still when I would play that game. But I was like completely lost a lot of time in what I was doing. I eventually learned the game and got better with the controller by using the M16A4 because a lot of the recoil was kind of difficult for me to understand at the time. And like I said, I didn't care because I was a fighting game competitor at the time. So I was playing like Marvel vs. Capcom 3, Street Fighter. Those are the games that I was playing and competing in, and I played in tournaments before that. So that wasn't really my thing. So when I remember when I had played Battlefield 3 for the first time, and I had some Call of Duty people that played competitively, and I told them, hey, you should try out Battlefield 3. Well, one day they came over and they played it, and you know what I mean. Next thing you know, like they were kind of looking back, and they're like, I don't know about this game, you know what I mean. And then they invited their friend. Next thing you know, they're now playing Battlefield 3. It was like a weird, like it changed people's perspectives from what it looked like from the third seat when I was watching someone else play that was into these games. So was it kind of like how was that experience when you like saw the difference between Call of Duty and then Battlefield 3? Because for me it was immersion and being lost into the game was very big, and I feel like certain people weren't really ready for it. But how is it for you? That's my question.
So I always thought the game was like really high quality. I think what got me going really into it is that I've always been an extremely competitive person. I feel like Call of Duty, obviously, like there's like the higher you get in the community, it's like you kind of run into the same people or you know of certain players, things like that. But in Battlefield, the community is really like everybody kind of knows who everybody is, in terms of like the pro players and like the semi-pro players and stuff like that. So it just kind of got me into it, where it's like you queue up in the server, you see some people, you either like them or you don't, and then the next day it's like you see the same people over and over again, same
Right.
players. Where it's like Call of Duty, you kind of see people like you play a round or two and then you never see them again most of the time. So that's really kind of what really got me into Battlefield 3, like just the competitive nature that I have and just kind of playing against the same players and with the same players, just kind of having friends. They're like, hey, like we're going up against these guys and this guy, like on Friday or Saturday. You gonna be there? I'd be like, yeah, I'll be there. And then a couple weeks later, we go up against them again. So just kind of things like that.
Right. Okay. I gotcha. All right. Okay. Hold on. I'm gonna take a small little break here. Someone's asking me in the chat about it lagged. Well, you were saying something. It was lagging. What did you mean by it was lagging? It could be just that it's a YouTube thing. It's not necessarily it's the video. So I apologize for any interference or issues. If you guys are watching, it's not necessarily on my end. A lot of times that happens with the upload and stuff when I'm recording. So you may want to like maybe go 15 seconds or 30 seconds back and let it kind of just do its thing. Okay, cool, man. All right, so we get to know you a little bit, and you can play the game, how you got into the game, and then so you met Camp, and in Camp when you met him from that point on, you guys used to always play together. Was that where y'all's, because that's where your relationship with the friends for the game, that's where it started, correct?
Yeah, so I would play with those guys from Lost Clan. And like we go like twice a week. So you had to attend a certain amount of meetings and scrims per month, and if you didn't, you would literally get kicked out of the clan. Like no ifs, ands, or buts.
Oh,
We
really?
would go up against we would go up against like different clans like once a month, things like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we would do we do different trainings. We do a bunch of like crazy stuff. We do like, for example, they would put you on the top of one of those little towers on Firestorm, M16A3, no sights, no attachments, no aim assist. They would have a guy like run across the desert, and then you were supposed to go in single fire, and then they would like tally up how many shots you would hit. They would tell you to fire, and then you would have to fire, things like that. They would put like somebody in the Alpha buildings on Metro, and it was like a 1v1. You would have to basically go ahead and like take out the guy in the Alpha building. And like they would put him on like different spots of the building, things like that. So we go over like a lot of situational awareness, like a lot of just kind of like aim training and things like that. But yeah, I would play with Camped a lot. He always wanted me like to play with him back in the day. But I was kind of like split between like two friend groups pretty much.
Okay, I see. So you were split, so y'all never got to really play. But y'all played, recently, you know what I mean? Like y'all played not too long ago. Is that correct? Or...
Yeah, I want to say we played about like April, May, something like that. Before
Okay.
he kind of started doing his little thing
Right.
that he's doing now.
Right. And we'll get to that in a moment. But okay, so all right, so that's when you met him around 2012, different, and it was in a different clan, and you guys, that's how you guys would practice. That's pretty hardcore, but it's not too surprising because I've seen a lot of older videos of Battlefield 3 where how people train and how people give, like, during that time in 2012, how they were telling people, oh yeah, this is how you should play this game, like giving people hints how to use a weapon.
Yeah.
There's always been that debate, or not really a debate, but people have their preference where it's like, one camp says, oh yeah, I run M16 with the foregrip, and then you have another camp that's like, oh yeah, I run without the foregrip. You have like that preference of players, and you have that people talking about that.
Well, you had that like whole rumor when the game first came out, like EA was gonna do some massive esport tournament with like a big prize pool or whatever.
Oh yeah.
For it. So you had a bunch of like tryhards getting in there, and then once people kind of realized that EA wasn't gonna kind of do too much with it,
right,
like a lot of tryhards still stayed. It was kind of like an arms race to see like who had the best clan or like who had like the best player.
right.
Like I remember like people were like, oh, like it's a mind shift, it's like anarchy. The stick streamer, like back in the day, like it was kind of like an arms race going on. So it was good, man. It was like good times.
Sorry, I was trying to, because you mentioned that, and I have that link of that tournament you're talking about, that exact tournament you're talking about on my Discord, because I had to look it up because I think it was about 350 when I was talking to him because he plays on PlayStation. He told me about that story, and you know, do you know who Bout 350 is, or?
Yeah, I played with about, I want to say from like 2014 to like 2017,
Yeah,
2018. He used to play on Xbox a lot.
yeah, he was an original Xbox player, so yeah, he told me a lot of stories about during that time when I got to play with him and hang out for that time. I'm trying to remember, I have a little section called Battlefield History. Just don't remember where I put it, but I have the link. I was gonna try to click on it so I can show everybody. Where is it? Oh, here it is. Found it. That's right. It's right here. So where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Yeah, tournament. Here it is. 1.6 billion. That's how much they're offering. Here it is. Here's one part of it. And yeah, it's gonna be kind of hard to see here, but yeah, just show some people who are interested. I will put the information, the link in the description box if you guys were wondering. But yeah, it was $1.6 million handed out to its players, question mark, right? So that was the whole thing. There was a lot of money involved. And you know what's crazy that about 350 told me is that there was so much money involved that they were getting other people from other games that were competitive just to play, that were picking up this game and preparing for the tournament. That was the crazy part. So he said like a lot of fighting game people decided to pick this game up and compete.
Yeah, yeah. I'm getting a couple of messages saying that the stream crashed. I don't know. I don't want to interrupt our conversation, but if you just want to double check,
Oh yeah,
I
I
don't know
can
if you
double
want to pull
check.
your stream up.
It's
Just
not
to
my
double check.
this stream is still up. It's just like a rendering issue sometimes.
Oh, okay.
It
All right.
like the
Okay.
stream is all good on my end. There's
No, I
nothing
know
wrong.
YouTube likes to play some games.
Yeah, it's
But
definitely
yeah, getting
on the
back to your
yeah, no worries. Yeah, I was just saying
getting
like
back to your question, yeah, no, they had people. There was like even rumors that like people from FaZe were like looking into it. Like people from like different games, so like we're like trying to like put people on, like BF3, just to like kind of get into that tournament. So it was a big deal, man. There was a lot of like high end people on Xbox playing that, man. There was a lot of people playing
right.
BF3, like a lot of legitimate FPS players from different games on there.
Yeah, it was definitely a very, very hype game at the time. Because I still remember, man, my friend told me about it. He was like, hey, man, like I asked him, like, hey, what PS3 games? I asked him what he was playing. Because that's all I played was fighting games. I didn't play anything else. And he was like, oh, man, you should play Battlefield. And I said, okay, well, you know, one day I just walked into a GameStop and I was just like, hey, let me just get this Battlefield 3 you guys talking about. And they had the last copy. And I remember buying the last copy. But, you know, I always had friends that played it. And it was, you know, very casual. I was more of like a just I enjoyed watching people play because it was something so new to me that I was not really like, oh man, well, I'm gonna play it. You know, I didn't know what the hell I was doing if I did play it, but that's cool. So let's move on from that. As far as any of the players, this is another question I wanted to ask you. As far as any of the players on PlayStation, did you have any relation with any of the other PlayStation players, or or you knew some that were on Xbox besides about
Oh,
350, and you know?
there's like a few players like I know like on Xbox that are like, oh, like I used to play on PlayStation. Like there's like a few of them. I mean, I've played with so many players on Xbox at this point. So I'd say probably like 15 or 20 people like in total. Like, but we're talking about like 10 plus years. They're like, oh yeah, I played on PlayStation for like a couple of years. So you know, there's like a few people here and there, but like nobody like way back when, like back in the day when the game was first coming out, like it was just kind of like Xbox only.
Right. Okay, I got you. All right then. So as far as like your R clan, I want to bring up the R clan, and then we'll get into some of the, you know, the juicy stuff. So the R clan situation that you have here. Um, why is it like who's the original who's the owner of our clan? I should ask. Who
Our
started it?
clan, I'm a co-founder with that. We had a project going for 2042 when DICE first announced the portal. We had a big project planned for 2042, basically between a few people on Xbox and a few people on PC. A couple guys. There was one guy called Victor Goulart, who's a big tanker. He used to play on one end. And a couple guys, Rar, who goes by like Hitman. Who else? I would have some conversation with Claudin. I think everybody on Xbox in the last 7 years knows Claudin BR, who's
Yeah, you got like
he's
Zermy,
notorious.
Walkbot.
Yeah, no,
Right?
Zermy was in there a little bit with this. He's got some like personal things going on, but like yeah, Walkbot's another guy.
I'm
That's in
correct
on
me if
this.
I'm wrong here. It says Danny on PC.
Yeah, so we've had some. He's not a founder. We've had some conversations with Danny on PC with some things we're gonna do. I can't get too much into that right now because it is pretty top secret. Not trying to be dramatic, but we got some things cooking for 2024 with Venice Unleashed that we're gonna be announcing in the next like 3 months.
Okay. Well, speaking of dramatic, so why, what is it that the persona that you put on that makes you tend to do things dramatic? I notice a lot, and I try not
The
to, you know what I mean?
persona that I put on, I
Yes.
mean, it's just me, myself, and I. I mean, I can't really help myself. It's just me. I mean, I would say I wouldn't necessarily say I'm the most polite person 100% of the time. I will tell
Why
you.
is that? Why is that? Well, how
Well,
come
I will tell you. I'll tell you, I'm one of the most loyal people you'll ever meet, especially on Battlefield. Like if I'm running on your, if I'm riding by your side, man, like I'm riding by your side till the wheels fall off on Battlefield. Like when I feel disrespected, then I gotta kind of, make it even, or I don't know
right?
how to quite put this, but it's like if you make me angry, then it's like I'm
Okay.
not gonna be a nice guy. I'm a nice guy to people that are nice to me. Let's put it
Okay,
that
I
way.
got you. So what are the conditions of someone having to upset you? Like, would it be like, okay, like if I was your best friend and then all of a sudden I told you, hey, I'm gonna be a M320 specialist, would that be something of triggering you or?
Mhm. Okay, so I'll tell you. Okay. That's a good question actually. Um, so Battlefield 3, in my opinion, and a lot of the people that used to play back when the game first came out, up until like 2014, 2015, and then they like hopped off onto different games. Like Battlefield 3 is such a special game in the sense that you really never stop getting better. It's like almost limitless the amount of skill that you can get if you keep getting better. A lot of these players that use M320s and shotguns with tugs, it's like, okay, you might win that pub match today, but if you look at those players throughout history, the amount of skill that they had 7 years ago, 10 years ago, they're still at the same level. And it's kind of sad that they would rather just win like a game here or there instead of actually improving at the game. So that from a strategy or a gameplay standpoint does annoy me. It doesn't annoy me necessarily on a personal level, but it does annoy me and a few other people that I run with from a gameplay standpoint. It's like there's no need for an M320. Learn how to hit your shots. Like, okay, I get it. It's some quick kills and you might win a game here or there, but it's really going to hinder you in the long run. And this is one of those games, like I said, it's like such an amazing game and you really never stop improving the more you play if you play it the right way. Like, if you want to hit those M16 shots, those AN94 shots, if you want to be a pilot, whatever you want to be, like you never really stop getting better at it. So yeah.
Right. So, but so when it comes to those players, because I've seen conversation of, you had conversation with people that there's people that obviously don't agree with that, and I understand how annoying the 320 is. Don't get me wrong, I understand it's annoying, but that's just kind of like that's part of the game because if it's of the way that's to well at least for me how I interpret it, the 320 was there for the sake of a balance issue, like a balance. If if they knew that, okay, well, what if the conditions are you have too strong of a team? There's no way we have a player, or maybe there's not a player that's capable of using an M16 as accurate as maybe the player on the other side. That was a way to kind of like
That's
suppress
the thing,
and
bro.
push back, right?
That's the thing. You might not be able to use it as accurately today, but tomorrow's a different day. And if you keep practicing at it, if you
Right.
keep improving at it, eventually you're going to get there. Now, if you say to yourself, oh, I can't use this as accurately as so and so that has so many more kills than me on the other team, and you start spamming RPGs and M320s, well, guess what? When tomorrow comes, since you haven't used that M16, the same thing's going to happen over and over again. And I've seen so many players that they just never improve, man. And then they go out there and they get all surprised when all these other players start going 25-0, 50-0, stuff like that. And it's like, well, you just didn't put the work in, buddy.
Right, right. No, I understand, and there's different ways that conversation go with some of those people, but I mean, for the most part, I understand why people do it because, a lot of times they're not playing, like as serious or as dedicated as some other players are, or you know what I mean? Because I'm that type of player as well that I prefer not to have those types of explosives, but it's like what you're saying. You have to eventually practice. You have to overcome certain strategies. You know what I mean? And I play fighting games, and I could just share with you the fact that when you play fighting games, one of the most difficult things, especially in a tournament, is adaptation. And a lot of people struggle with adaptation because you can only in fighting games it's a lot of times it's 3 out of 5 or it's 2 out of 3, and especially the games that are 2 out of 3, you only have one match to really to really lose and make mistakes. If you lose the first round, you have to make adjustments the next round. And if you lose that match, it could be very, very downhill for the next round, and then you go into losers. So there's a lot of things that I've learned from that I apply it in Battlefield, and I don't think a lot of people know about it, but it's like more of a competitive and more of a strategic type of mindset where it's like, yeah, the 320 is strong. It's like the whole idea with the support player throwing grenades. It's like you can sit there and
It's the
throw
same
grenades,
thing with
but
the grenades. It's the
yeah, the
same
grenade
thing.
spam.
It's like the people, they run the alpha on Metro and they put beacons all up in your spawn and stuff like
Yeah,
that. The people that they just want to shoot frag rounds on the red stairs, for example,
right.
on Operation Metro. It's that whole sort of like thing. And a big thing with like the last few years, I want to say like 2017 and plus, it's like, okay, the game is obviously just as fun as what it was when it released, but most of the comp people like left. There's no official tournaments going on. Like most of the people that were really good back in the day that still play, they don't really try as much. Like including me. Like I really don't try as much. Like I'm not locked in. Like yeah, I have good scores and I have good rounds, but I'm trying like 70%. Like disclaimer, I mean, obviously we played like a round yesterday, so like disclaimer, it's like the first time that you and I had actually talked, like where we could hear each other, and like played like an actual round. And it's like you were in the party, I was just messing around with some people, like just laughing
Yeah.
around, and I had a good score. But it's like some of these guys, circling back to the original question, a lot of these guys with these M320s and these shotguns, it's like they do all these things just to win a round when it like against a really good player. When it's like the really good player at this point really isn't trying his hardest or even close to his hardest. He's just trying to vibe and have a good time. So, and it's not really anybody's fault necessarily, but it really ruins the experience when you go home from like a day of work or you just kind of hop on Battlefield 3 and you're somebody with a high skill level, and then people see you and they just want to start like shooting M320s and spamming tugs with like shotguns everywhere. It just
Right.
ruins the whole entire experience. And I get it because you're slaying out most of the lobby. But on the other hand, it's like I went through the same thing where I wasn't as good, and a lot of the people, there's very few people in Battlefield 3 history that just picked up the game and were immediately one of the best players. That's very few. It's like less than 10 people. Everybody had to go through the same growing pains. So it's like, put down the M320 and the shotgun and learn how to play the game.
Right. Well, that's definitely a campaign that's going to be difficult for anybody to get behind. But I totally understand that whole point. But going back to the whole like, what triggers you to get like to upset you, as far as like if you say someone disrespects you, like what are the grounds though? Like obviously I say it as a joke, the whole 320 specialist thing, but um, you know it's just is that all really it is? Just if someone disrespects you.
The consistent, like really bad gameplay from like the things that we were just talking about. The people that hop in and day out and just spam all of those horrible tactics
Okay.
and ruin the gameplay. That's one thing.
What about B
People that
flag
go
players? Do B flag
people
players fall into this?
B flag, it's not as there's a little bit more of a gray area. There used to be a couple players, not a couple, there used to be a few players that would just camp way in the back on B flag. That's kind of frowned, looked down upon, things like that. That's not the biggest thing really. That's not gonna get me like really campaigning against you. I would say people that spam all that stuff and then they want to hop in. So here's the thing. It's like one of the most beautiful things about the Battlefield 3 community is that everybody, like I said, really knows who everybody is once you get to a certain level. Like if you're a level 100, you kind of know who most of the other good players are. Um, like the people that want to just spam stuff, shotguns, and then they hop in the party, or they make comments on YouTube, or they make comments on Reddit acting like they're really good or like they're destroying everybody. It's like respect yourself and respect everybody else in the community. The people that cheat, the people that cheat, those people really get me going. The people that just want to ban everybody and team stack, those people get me really going.
Mm-hmm.
The people that go against, and it's not as big of a thing now because the community is really small, but I'll give you like a throwback. Like back when I was in Lost Clan, like I had mentioned earlier, it was like basically like a brotherhood, like the people, that division that was on BF3. We had people that were actively like trying to DDoS, boot you offline, people that would go at like and chase you in servers and like team stack against you. They would bring in like 7 other friends and like start team stacking against you. We had people, there was like a whole list of players in certain clans that you were not allowed, if you were in Lost Clan, to have them on your friend list. You had to immediately delete and block those players. And if you didn't, you got kicked out. No ifs, ands, or buts. And it was the same concept really with iClan, which was Camp's clan that I played
Right.
in for a few years. That's later down the road. That's 2014 to like 2018, 2019. Like so people that like disrespect or like betray like their own clan or like the brotherhood or like their little friend group, that really gets me going as well. The thing with Battlefield 3 is, you have a lot of server owners. It's not really that good of an idea to play on these dice servers now because sometimes you get cheaters. But you have a lot of server owners and admins that have the ability to really mold and control the player base. If you have all the server owners or most of them in unison saying, hey, we're going to ban the people at C4 on the A buildings on Metro, for example, and you have like 7, 8, 9 out of 10 servers doing that, then guess what? Most of the players, they're not really going to keep doing that. Now, like in 2023, it's just pure chaos. Like everybody's using Cronus Max, everybody's running around with shotguns in your base, putting beacons. It's just like there's no order. And the unfortunate situation back in the day was that like people like me, people that were in clans like me, we used to really keep the community in check, so to speak. Now there's really nobody keeping the community in check, and you see the mess that it is. So I'm not trying to tell you like dramatically like, oh, like it's a necessary evil or anything like that. But it's really the people that like the big time players that were in the big time clans. They used to kind of police everybody and kind of set the tone, set the meta. So people that really go against the grain, that pisses me off a lot as well, honestly. The people that they just want to like put on a Cronus Max and go with a shotgun, that really gets me going.
Right, right. And I've said this before. A lot of times you can't go behind the person's desk and watch them play. You don't know. You know what I mean? They could be using almost everything out of the whole book. You know, like the Cronus Max, the one-shot hacks, or UAV, or what they call it. I think it's called UAV for the real-time modding tool that they have. You know, you don't know exactly what they're doing, especially on the PlayStation side. On Xbox, really, it's very rare that you see anybody cheat on that game. I've only had maybe a handful of people that I've actually caught, and not just caught, but like people told me it's actually on one of my streams where someone messaged me and they're like, "Hey, there's somebody on your stream or in your team in the air RP, or he's using the Stinger. He's like stingering all the jets." And I looked, and he was in my squad. And you know how you can like highlight over your squad mate,
Yeah.
and you can see what they're
Yeah.
doing. And this guy was moon jumping in the air, you know, and he was using the Stinger to lock onto them.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I gotta ban this guy. You know what I mean? So it was
Yeah.
very, very small instances of people doing it, and I didn't really. My ban list on Xbox was really not that big in comparison to the PlayStation one, because PlayStation it's always the same group of people. They just make multiple accounts, and they always go at the same time when they play, and they do, you know, it's always the same people, and they usually only play on the dice servers. Sometimes they get bold and they want to like get on the servers that they're banned on, and then, you know, eventually they'll get banned. But you know, it's crazy the comparison of the PlayStation one and the Xbox, how many cheaters there are. But the turnaround, the difference between the two is like, okay, more cheaters on PlayStation, but Xbox does just about zero cheaters. But besides the Cronus Max thing, that's, you know, to me, the Cronus Max is not necessarily cheating unless it falls under a condition where you're abusing certain things that are kind of not attainable through natural skill. And when I say that, I mean, like, okay, if you use a mouse and keyboard, or you have the aim assist on or off, right? And if you have it on, it's not fair, right? To me, that's not fair. Is it cheating? That's debatable, right? Because it's all preference at that point. I don't think it's fair, because the thing is, I don't want to say it's cheating, because it's not. To me, it's not cheating, because the player can do whatever he wants. No one's going to police him, right? Unless somebody that has a server has a preference that says, okay, I think this is cheating, so I'm not going to allow it, right?
Yeah.
But
the problem with mouse and keyboard is, and I know that you and I have like disagreed about this in the past. The problem with mouse and keyboard is you want to think of mouse and keyboard and Cronus Max as like steroids in baseball. Like, okay, yeah, that player, like Alex Rodriguez, for example, to all my sports people like Barry Bonds, yeah, they're obviously really good baseball players, but would they be as good if they were using steroids? That answer is no. And I know there's certain people out there that use like a mouse and keyboard and they don't like maybe do as good like, or like Cronus, for example, like score wise, but still, especially with like mouse and keyboard, like you look down, and I know you haven't been on Xbox the whole time, but if you look at the history of some of the most notorious players from the comp era and from like the B flag era, like when they got really, really good, where they were just destroying everybody, is when they decided to buy a mouse and keyboard. And like a lot of these guys, they didn't tell anybody for a couple of years, and then it kind of got discovered, and there was like a whole shock within the community. And then other people started buying mouse and keyboards because they were like, oh, like these guys bought them and they got really good, so let me buy one. So it's just kind of like a mess. Obviously, there's a big gray area. But I mean, I stand by what I say, that most players, and you can look through it in history, not to like call anybody out, but most players in history, when they bought a mouse and keyboard, the players that were already pretty good, they just kind of became transcendent, like all-time great players. And it's kind of sad.
right, no, I understand. But that's another thing. It's like the you know, I obviously played mouse and keyboard, and now understand this: when I played mouse and keyboard, that was my preference of controller for these types of games. It wasn't that I was playing it to, um, you know, to be like the best player. You know what I mean? And even when I did play, I was not like always like exceedingly like better than everybody. There was other
Yeah,
players
no,
that were
like
really good.
you don't get on like you don't get on with like a mouse and keyboard to like be like the number one like person the whole entire night going like 100 and 0 or whatever.
Right.
But there's been so many people throughout the years. Like I always rattle off some gamer tags for some of the people watching. Some people might know them. If you're on Xbox, you definitely know these gamer tags. So people like NXS Defiance, people like Zindro, like Locust Shade, people who really they weren't really anybody. They were players that would go 70 and 30, and then they buy these mouse and keyboards and they're going like 170 and like 20, and you're like, well, like what is going on here? And then you find out 2 or 3 years later that they had a mouse and keyboard, and it's like, oh, okay. It's
Right.
like,
Right.
all right.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. They could be doing so exceptionally well, and you're like, man, what's up with this guy? And it's like, that's the thing. That's what my question comes down to. Is like, well, this guy is he using aim assist? You know what I mean? And at least in Battlefield 3, you can kind of tell if someone's using aim assist, because of the whole L1 R1 or the left trigger right trigger spam. I call it ADS spam because that's what it is.
Yeah.
It's just
And the thing
borderline
is too,
aimbot.
it kind of ruined it. It kind of ruined it for so many other people who were like really good, because then everybody's like, all right, like, well, so and so is using a mouse and keyboard, but this
Right.
other player just beat so and so like 7 out of 10 games on B flag. So like, are they using a mouse and keyboard? Like they just beat the guy that's quote unquote cheating. So like they must be cheating too. And then
Right.
you would get like these witch hunts and like all these like theories and stuff, and
Right.
it's just
Yeah, it's
ridiculous,
kind of
honestly.
crazy how people kind of go after each other a lot of times in the game. It's kind of crazy.
I would say on Xbox, people would definitely go after each other more. PlayStation's always been kind of more mellow. And PC just like is just different. It's just accusations. But people would kind of go on like witch hunts or like crusades against each other on Xbox, which kind of adds to the community drama or the excitement of the game. It's like it's more than just a game. You get on and there's like people following you around in servers and stuff.
Right.
People acting like you're some sort of hacker, you're cheating and stuff, and you join a server, you get instantly banned and stuff. It adds a little bit to the
Yeah,
game. It
exactly.
adds a little spice.
Hey man, but I always say this, man, just know what comes with it. You know what I mean? If you
Oh, of course.
if people do stuff like that, you gotta expect other people, you know what I mean, to come after you and stuff as well. So
There was this clan that you don't know about them, because you like I said, like you didn't play the whole like 10 plus years on Xbox, but there was this clan back in the day when there was like a bunch of people playing like in like Battlefield 3 Prime. There was this clan called Merc, MERC, and they had so many servers on the US West Coast. And they would just straight up, if they didn't like you, they would just straight up ban you, like no reason whatsoever.
right,
It was
hey
wild.
man, you're not part of the club no more. I mean, it's
And
very
then
clicky.
you would hop on a server, right? You'd hop on a server, and they'd hop in with like 4, 5, 6, 7 guys, and they would just start chasing you from server to server. And then like, so what are you gonna do? You got like 5 people chasing you. So what do you do the next day? You call up 4 or 5 of your boys, and you're like, hey man, we got these guys chasing us. Let's go. Let's start chasing them. And then you start doing that for 1 day, 2 days. It turns into like a couple weeks, and before you know it, you got like real beef, with like a clan that had 25, 30 members, and you have another clan, 25, 30 members. It was just, it was good. It was good times, man.
Right. Yeah, no, Battlefield 3 is very clicky. And I've said that before, it's very clicky. You have all these groups, especially now, on PlayStation more so than on Xbox, but um, you know, I think Xbox doesn't have too many, it has clicks, but it doesn't have too many clicks to where it matters. On PlayStation there's a lot more clicks. But it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. The game is old. I usually I don't really particularly care if that's why I have all three platforms. So if there's not games on here, and I've seen you do the same thing, you go play on PC. You know what I
I do
mean?
play on PC sometimes. Yeah, I can tell you this much, man. Even just because the game is old for me, like I don't care, bro. Like I'm gonna play it the right way. I'm gonna do the things I need to do until the wheels fall off with the game. Until EA's like, all right, we're shutting the servers down. I'm gonna keep being me. Doesn't matter who it is, who I'm playing against.
Right.
Like don't start with the M320s. Don't start with the random nonsense and the let's just have a good time. Let's
Right.
just get better.
Fantastic. All right, now let's get to the juicy stuff. All right, so the whole issue with I want to talk about our beef first, and then we'll get to the next one. So, um, we go back and forth, and you know what I mean. When I was talking to you, by the way, it was not really the conversation. I know when conversations go somewhere and when they don't go somewhere. If they don't go anywhere, at some point I'm gonna give up. Sometimes I give people a courtesy, and I try to maybe the conversation will go in another direction. But usually if it doesn't, I will just I'll be done. You know what I mean? So you made those videos and all those things, and I want to clarify some things because it's not just one. Because I watched that video you posted, and I'll watch them one time. Sometimes I won't watch them.
Get the popcorn out and watch them, my friend.
But
Get the popcorn out.
right, so I'll watch it, and you'd be like, well, I don't understand. Like, why did what was the one shot? Well, the thing is this. So Xbox is not the same. Like, out of all the versions of the game, the Xbox version plays like kind of is like the worst version to play on. It is actually not like the best one.
That's true.
Was
Performance-wise, that is true.
There's some pros, there's some cons, but as far as like the PC version, if we're gonna say the PC version, the definitive version, like the PlayStation is the most equivalent to the PC version because it has a lot of the options, especially the internet options, to make the game play and perform similarly to the PC side. And that was one of the biggest things I noticed when playing on Xbox. Is I would just die immediately, and it still happens today. That's why I don't make a big deal about it, because now I understand after playing so much now on Xbox and PlayStation and PC, I can tell the difference from all three, and it's like, okay, it sounds like I'm getting one-shotted, but that's not the case. It's just a lot of the stuff is like server side. On top of that, servers are shit. So like, it also, when I did my FOV change, the guide that I was using wasn't even doing it the right way either, so I ended up having to make some adjustments myself, and I'm like, okay, so I made sure like, okay, everything graphics are 0, like I want the game to perform as best as it can, so that I don't have these confusing situations where I'm getting killed and I don't understand. So I changed the frequency factor. I brought it down to be really, really low, because I didn't know about that until I played on PC. So I was like, oh, okay, you can change the frequency factor, because that's where I noticed it. I was like, I had my frequency factor on default on PC, and I'm like, bro, why am I getting one shot? I'm getting one, right? So then someone told me in the chat, oh yeah, I turned it down or turned it to 0. And I'm like, oh, and then I found out this is on the console version as well. So when I adjusted that, things started to play a little bit better for me, because I'm like, okay, it's more in line with how the PS3 version is and the Xbox version, because the PS3 version, those FOV files are already done. Nobody has to go and modify them themselves unless they want to make a custom one. That's already done for you, so you wouldn't really know about it unless you played on PC and you found out, or you knew about it existing from another title or game. But that was one of the things that confused me the most. So when I would play you or other players and I would get one shot, I'm just like, bro, what is going on here? You know what I mean? Because I would play PlayStation so much, that I was like, I was used to getting killed a specific way, right? So, but then again, also, it is a new account, and the thing is this, and I've said it in the video too, it's like, I'm always willing to unban people as long as I understand, okay, if I see your stats, then you're not cheating, you're good, right? You're good on my end. The thing is, like, that's also another way to start dialogue with somebody, for me, to get to know somebody, because at the end of the day, you don't know who these players are a lot of times, and, you being the person you are, and you did that, you had the intention of, I don't know if you had the intention of trying to get banned, because you already knew you were banned, you know what I mean? You already made another account, and, when I banned the account, I was like, okay. Then you start the dialogue, but then you switched it up on me, and then you said, oh, then you went silent, and then
Yeah,
you
we
posted
told
a
them.
video.
They were like, who do we tell him this guy is? They were like, tell him it's about 350.
Right, and I knew who about 350 was, so
Yeah, exactly. That's the whole point.
I was
That was the
like,
whole
you
point. And then
guys.
he came back like an hour later. You're like, bro, you're not about 350. We're like, no, yeah, no, we're not.
Yeah, but see, it was very
Good
it was
times,
very
good times.
very deceptive. So, but you might
Good
think
times.
you might think it's a joke, right? But see, this is where the age difference of me and you come and play a factor. Is like I've already lived, through your age, and I've had bad experiences with friends and people where I've said this before. I don't trust people a lot. I have a big problem with trusting or making new friends that I trust, that I can give trust to. So, you know what I mean? I take just like how you don't like being disrespected. For me, it's like it's a thing of like honesty. If you're not honest, or you're not being what's the word? When you're not being
I know what you
forthcoming,
mean.
you're not being forthcoming.
No, yeah.
You know what I mean? You're not being
No,
honest.
that's why we told you it was about 350. We're like, he's gonna figure out it's not about 350 because you're
Right.
gonna go over there on PlayStation and ask him.
Right. No, yeah, and I was gonna ask them like, what's going on? So yeah, and then
the
it's
whole
like,
thing with that video with you was, the thing with me is, it's like I know so many people, not to toot my own horn, but I know so many people on Battlefield that like I'll be in a party and people will join my party just to like tell me like, hey, like you hear what like so and so's doing, like can you help me out? So there was a few people here and there, and they're like, oh, like I was playing on this guy's server and he's like a small streamer, and like I got kicked out or this and that, or for whatever reason I got switched around or something, and like I'm not sure what the reasons were, obviously. We're talking like a year ago probably at this point. Time flies.
yep.
So I hopped in your server, and I forgot what happened, but yeah, I got banned. And I think we didn't get off on the right foot. To
Yeah, well,
start
the
off
thing is,
with.
you were jumping into my camp. That was the thing, and everybody was more on my side than they were on your side. But either way,
Because you have your viewers, you got your people,
Yeah.
you got your friends, and they're gonna ride for you. That's just the way it is. Battlefield, the game of clicks. So obviously, if I hop in your stream or something, you're gonna get all these guys like those Casarola guys and the Malokis, all your boys are gonna be like, nah, like quit messing around with Anthony.
yeah, of course they got my back.
You know what I mean? So you had your people. So I was like, all right, let's see what's going on with this guy. Like if he's really banning people. So I have like a bunch of
Right.
accounts at this point. So I hopped on like one of them, and then yeah, I got you like a few times, and then I got you with a Magnum. And I was like 10 feet away from you, and I got banned. So I'm like, all right, let me see this guy's like live stream. Like, why did he ban me? And you were all like, and I get the point that you're making. But I think a big thing, like when you're making content and like you're live streaming and stuff, and like you kind of learn like as you go and as you grow with it, is that you gotta be careful with what you say, especially on a game with like a community like Battlefield 3. Like if you go around saying, obviously that account with me that day was an alt, but if you go around saying, oh, like so and so's hacking, like and you banned that player, it kind of has a negative effect on that player because people start saying, oh, like they're hacking or they're cheating and stuff. So you kind of got to be careful with that sort of language. So when you're like, oh, he's one-shot hacking, you're like, oh, he's got me like 4 or 5 times one shot. I'm like, okay, no, I gotta post this.
Right. No, and I understand that. I understand.
And
But
I didn't mean to get your gameplay of it, because you were like, oh, like you stole my gameplay. It wasn't like, oh, we're gonna steal his gameplay. It was just kind of like from like your point of view, showing everybody. And I'm not trying to call you out or anything right now or anything like that. It was just kind of like, all right, like he's out here saying there was one shot. Like where was the one shot? I'll give you this though, because you were talking about the performance of Battlefield 3 depending on the platform. On Xbox, there's certain players, there's like certain all-time players, and I don't mean to toot my own horn, but I'm one of them, that when you get shot by like an M16 or an AK or an A94, like you just straight up get beamed. It's just like that's it.
right. Yeah.
Like another one, and you've probably heard about this guy. His name is Zermy. Like if Zermy beams you with an A4, it's like forget about it. Like you're done. Like
Right.
you're straight up like just you're gonna get shredded. There's certain players that when you get in a gunfight from like a very long distance, just the way your health drops down to 10%, you instantly know it's like the tryhard or like the so and so from the other, that player. There's not a lot of them out there, but there's enough to where it does kind of seem where like you're getting beamed kind of harder than what you should. Like you peek a corner and then you're down to like 8% health and you're like,
Right.
whoa, like what's going on here? You
Right.
know what I mean? So there is kind of a hint why that happens. I don't know. I can tell you that a big kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Something in common with most of these players is that they play on really low sensitivity on controller. Like I play, if you go from 0 and you take your D-pad and you put seven clicks to the right, that's what I play on. Zermie's the same way. Most of the big time B flag players, they play really low.
Right.
But yeah, there is kind of like a thing with these assault rifles on Xbox where you just get absolutely annihilated by a few players here and there. So I mean, I'll give you that point. The thing with the video, it was kind of like I had already. So you got to understand, there's two sides to the coin. You know what I mean? Like you obviously you have your servers and your people that you play with. From my perspective, it's like I'm playing Metro and I'm getting like my friends are pilots and this and that hopping in the party. Like, yo, like this guy keeps banning us or kicking us or switching us around. I'm like, okay, let me see what's going on, So that's really, it's kind of like a
Right.
thing where it's, there's two sides to every coin.
Of course. Of
Not
course.
necessarily it's not necessarily a personal thing with you, you know. It's nothing personal. It's just the way things kind of went down. And then
Right.
obviously you had those, you had the three like speeches, that little with the auto tune. That was pretty funny. That was
Right.
hilarious.
Yeah. I mean,
Which I know you're probably like, no, Lemon, it wasn't that funny. But like me and all the boys in the Xbox party were laughing so hard at
well,
that.
yeah. I mean, your friends
I
probably
took
were
a little.
laughing.
Well, no, yeah,
To me, it was like, oh my god, this guy's going this far with it. Even though for me, it's more like, hey, if you just talk to me about it, I'm usually pretty cool, and you know what I mean. We'll just have a conversation about it. It's just a misunderstanding. For the most part, it's always a misunderstanding, but it's like, But I want to go back a little bit and talk about like you were mentioning about like, you peek a corner, you're down to 10%. I spoke to a lot of players that are really good, and they always would tell me that a lot of these players, and I've actually seen other players explain this as a tips and trick when you're being like, for example, like the locker room in Metro, right? A lot of times where you have the support player just laying down and just firing down that little hallway. Well, there's some things you could do to kind of like, if someone's around a corner, right? One of the explanations that I've seen people say that you start firing at the wall, and then as you're peeking the corner, you're still firing, and then you'll hit your target. So that's one of the things that I've noticed that's how you get hit a lot when you don't realize it. And that's the thing, that there's server lag. The game lags. If you peek a corner and then someone shows up and then all of a sudden you fire and then you're dead. It's like they were already. I always say this, like they're always shooting at you when you think they're not. Right? That's the whole idea. If you see them, it's too late. You know what I mean? You got to kind of be kind of predicting that they're gonna be, and those are only conditions if there is high ping and lag.
Yeah,
but that does happen.
The thing on Xbox though, and I think like if you play with us a little bit more, that there's not too many players left playing, obviously, but there's a few that I can introduce you. Like if you ever hop in the B flag server and you go up against like QPOZI, who's known as Eagle, AFG Eagle, or Zermi. There's a couple people, like I'm telling you, it's tough to explain, but you're gonna understand it. It's like you see them and that's it. You're done.
Yeah,
like,
no, dude, you ain't gotta tell me. I've already experienced it. I already know how it is. Like I've played with the competitive
Xbox,
players on PlayStation.
It's on like different levels. There's one clip. There's a couple clips in that video, like that little one-shot video. where I think at the beginning, like we played a couple of rounds until you banned that profile. It's like we were playing Donovan Peak Rush.
Yeah.
I think I beamed you on like a clip where you were like on the mountainside and I was in the building like really far away. And
Yeah.
you're like what? You were like, what is going on?
Right.
You know, I play on a really low sensitivity, and I usually go for headshots with the AEK. So like when I hit you, like I really hit you.
Right. Right. But see,
Like,
you might be getting hit markers, but
I remember I used to hop in on like games with like Anarchy Ninja back when he would still live stream before he played like Star Wars 24/7. And like I wouldn't like stream snipe or anything. I would just go in his channel like 2 or 3 days later just to watch like the Metro games. And then he'd be like in ticket booth or somewhere, and he gets shot. And he get dropped to like 5%. He's like, who the hell is? And then he'd be like, oh, like it would end up being me.
right. Well, you know, Anarchy Ninja, I'm glad you bring him up. He's very competitive too. But just to sum up this last point here on the whole beef situation, you know, it was a misunderstanding of how the console version of Xbox is. A lot of the issues are server side, and you have these issues where, you know, the server has to confirm the hits too, but there's a discrepancy a lot of times where you're getting shot and there's no hit indication, right? You're not getting the hit indicator that you're getting shot at which angle, or you'll get hit all at the last hits, right? All 4 hits hit you when you're.
I'll say this much with you, bro. Like it's never been like a personal thing with you. Like there's very few people that I actually have like a personal problem with on this game. And like you, like I never had a personal problem with you. It's just like, you know, and I don't want to like call you out necessarily. But there's some games where you don't like score wise do as good. As like you're not going like 75-0. Like you're not like a bad player. You're not a bad player. But there's a lot of games where you go like, you know, you go like 50-30 or something, 15-25. So it's like when you start seeing somebody like kicking players out, or like banning players, and they're like, oh, like they might be cheating, they might be this or that. And like I understand where you're coming from, like your side of the, you know, the whole argument. But when I have like so many people telling me like, hey, this guy keeps like kicking me out or he's switching me around, and then you see somebody who like doesn't quite have a full like mastery of the game in the sense that like they can't just turn on the jets and go like 100-0. It's like, okay, all right, like let's see what's going on with this guy. Like why is he kicking everybody out, you know?
Well, you know,
not everybody, not everybody.
But let me just say this:
I mean? Like,
there's
enough to where it gets to my. Have you ever seen like The Godfather, like the first Godfather? Like, you know, like at the beginning when he's like in the little office, like the people like they go in there and they have like little problems and like they want him to like help them out. It's like when I'm in the Xbox party and I got people hopping in my party, they're like, yo, like, can you help me out with like this, bro? Like I keep getting kicked out, or like I'm like, okay, all right, like let's see what's going on.
Right. Well, let me just say this. People will always complain about that's one of the things I've noticed, because I played on PlayStation, remember? When I would switch people on PlayStation, people are okay with being switched.
There's a lot of people cheating on PlayStation too, which like makes it like kind of.
Yeah, there are, but besides those, we already know who those people are. But the thing is, a lot of times when you switch on PlayStation or you switch people, a lot of times they're okay with it. There's only very few people that I could tell you that are not okay with it. There's only certain camps of people that I know specifically. But I've been personally told to balance the game, or else they will not play, and these are good players. They will not play the game unless it's balanced, right? And I can tell you one of those players one of them is about 350, but there's other people too that will tell me like, hey, can you balance the game? You know, they'll tell me to balance the game, and I'm always trying to find a way to balance, and it's not as easy as you think it is to balance these games. Now, to go back on the Xbox, guys, I would switch players and they would get upset. Bro, their shirt got tight. I was like, what's your problem, dude? Like, I'm switching you because we need help, you know? Like, but that's the thing. I noticed it real quick. There's a lot of Xbox players. They're not playing like that.
There's a few unwritten rules on that, which, like, you know,
apparently
come from a different platform. You know, if somebody's having like a really good game, you're not really supposed to switch them. Or if they're like playing with like their friends, you like, if you switch them, you got to switch like all their friends going around.
Right, and I'm
to the
okay
other
with
team.
that. I'm okay with that, by the way. That you got to tell me though, and I've said this before.
No,
I said,
yes.
look, if I switch you and your homies on the other time, because I've had people tell me that they'd be like, hey, my friend's on the other team, can you switch him over, or can you switch me back? I'm cool with that. You know what I mean? I'm a very communicative. Like I'm all about communication. If you just tell me, hey, can you switch me back? I will not kick you out of the server. What irks me the most is like when people are leaving the game and then I'm like, hey, I need help, and I try to like not have the server completely die. I'll try to switch one person over, and then they get upset. It's not gonna affect their score necessarily to a detriment, but it's like, bro, there's always another game. That's how I
Yeah,
look at it, you know?
there's a few unwritten rules on Xbox. Xbox is kind of
Yeah,
like baseball, where there's like unwritten rules. Why? I don't
right.
know exactly why. That's just the way it ended up being. Which I feel like, nah, there's pros and cons. I can tell you, me personally, I don't care if you switch me over, unless I'm going like, if I'm going 50-0, like don't, or plus, like don't switch me over. I'm gonna get pissed. Other than that, I really don't care. Um, like it could be like whatever. Like I don't care. Like I was telling you yesterday, I'm like, yo, like switch me over. Let's try to make a little comeback. Like I don't mind too much.
Yeah, but see, if I did
You
that,
know.
but let me just tell you from experience, if I would have switched you over, everybody on that team that you just switched and played, now you're playing against them, they would have left. I would have told you, I could tell you that right now, because that's how some players are. Believe it or not, and this
No,
is
there's a lot of people. Yeah,
if they
that's
see
how
the
it is on
best
Xbox.
player switch, they're like, oh fuck this, I don't want to play this now. I don't want to play against him. You know what I mean? Because there's some players that like this. They're like this on
And
PlayStation too.
that's how
They'll play
how
with them, but they
Xbox
won't play against them.
and that's how cliques are formed on Xbox. Is you got the people that can stand in there and take the heat, win
Right.
or lose, and actually play. And you got the guys that leave, and then every once in a while, one of these guys he joins the party, and you're like, no, like you don't belong here, buddy. Get out of the party. And it's not like you're trying to be like the bully, like the middle school bully, like taking the lunch money. But it's like, no, like I don't want to play with you. And it's not a personal thing. It's not like you're like a horrible human being or something, or like a mean person. But it's like from a battlefield standpoint, I don't want to play with you. The team gets a little tough on the enemy team gets a little tough and you leave, or you start busting out M320s and stuff. No, I don't want to play with you. Like, get out of my party. And it sounds kind of mean, but it's just the way it is. Like, I want to play with the people that, no matter how tough it is, like they don't really leave too much. I know I have a little bit of a I'll say this, a false reputation for team stacking.
Right. Well,
We can get into that.
yeah, we can move to
Uh,
that part because let me say this, okay? You didn't set yourself up very well for that one, but I'm just saying, like, cause I watched your streams from the last time, and I've mentioned it before. I'm like, look, I mean, because you would do that because you were witch hunting, right? Because when you're witch hunting, you're gonna play with the friends, right? And look, and I've always said that too. I'm like, hey, that's fine. You know what I mean? I'm okay with that. But I don't mind playing a losing game sometimes. Sometimes if I don't want to play it, I've already played it multiple times. I'm usually gonna leave. But I don't mind playing a losing game sometimes because it allows me to think outside the box. Because yeah, you could team stack or you can be with your homies and you might witch hunt me, but you're not making it challenging for yourself. At the end of the day, you're playing. You already got all your aces in places. You know what I mean? And I only got myself, and I don't. It's usually just myself. I don't play with anybody or communicate with anybody. I don't go in no chats or groups. So I'm usually playing by myself for the most part. I only learn from like watching other high level players, and I try to implement their strategies by watching them play. So even watching your gameplay, so I caught a few things. I'm like, okay, well, I'll have to probably implement something like that when I'm playing the next time, right? Like the whole going prone and on the stairs and stuff like that, because it really makes you not a big target. A lot of times you can avoid death, so instead of just crouching. But there's certain things that are like that. But it's happened to me, and it is what it is. But like I've learned to accept losing more in the game when I started playing on PC, because you don't have a choice unless you're a VIP member. So I kind of like learned to be like, okay, you know what? I'm not going to be able to do anything about this. Let me just implement strategies and make it interesting for myself, because that's how I am. Like I don't like
Yeah.
playing on the team that's winning and base raping. A lot of times you'll see me never base attack a team for the most part. I'll always like stay in the back or I'll snipe.
I can tell you this much. There's two types of like kind of like stack teams. There's like the people that actually team stack because they just want to win every game, or they're not good enough to go up like on a normal team and have good stats. And then there's like the witch hunting stuff, which unfortunately for you, you had to deal with.
It's fine. It is what it is.
The team stacking part of the witch hunting is just kind of like a collateral like effect, because obviously like you're going up against somebody, you got like your whole crew playing, you got like 7 people, 5, 4 people playing or whatever. That's just like a collateral. I can tell you this much: you're not the first guy, and as long as Dice doesn't, kill the servers off by tomorrow, you're not going to be the last guy
Right.
that this happens to. On Xbox, there's a lot of clicks on Xbox, and there's a lot of people that to this day are like really hated. And when people see him online, it's like I get the messages, hey, so and so's online, like let's go play against them. I'm like, all right, you
Yeah.
ain't gotta tell me twice. You ain't gotta tell me twice. And the thing with Xbox is back in the day, like there was like so many clicks that like there was like a lot of like witch hunting like server following going around. So like now with the old day, like the old kind of like 2018 plus, when the servers are kind of low, it's like a lot easier to kind of do that.
Right. Yeah.
Back in the day, like it was like you would like witch hunt one person, but they were in a clan with like 50 other people.
Right.
So then they would get their guys. Now it's kind of like tough, and like especially somebody like you that comes from a different platform, is like you don't really know that many people on Xbox.
Right. Yeah.
People are like, all right, let's go follow them around. I'm like, all right, well, you don't gotta tell me twice.
Yeah, but it's good. It's better now. I mean, I've been witch hunted multiple times.
I'll tell you a good example. Some of these guys from like the Death Clan, there's a good thing. There's this thing with the Death Clan members. Some not as bad now, but I want to say from like 2016 to like 2020-ish. Like you would just automatically play on the other team. Automatically. No ifs, ands, or buts. And if you didn't play on the other team, then people would start going up against you and they would go on the other team. It was just like, that's just the way you had to do it. I won't get into them too much. But basically when iClan, around 2014-ish, when iClan, which was Camp's clan, formed, they had a merger with Death Clan. And then, like a few years later, it kind of fell apart. It broke apart. And then a lot of people from Death Clan that started playing, they would just ban people for no reason. And then they would just camp in the back with bipods. So, like, people, they didn't appreciate that. And, like, I think the biggest thing with the Xbox community is that people really hold on to grudges. And people really keep receipts where it's like something happened 4 or 5 years ago and they're still on it. And it's just the way it is, man. It's just the way it is on Xbox, and it's something you might not like it, but it's just that's the way it is, and you're just gonna have to respect it a little bit. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Because it's just something you got to deal with.
Right.
And it's happened to me.
Right.
It hasn't happened to me.
I
Dude.
can imagine.
I used to hop into servers, and there would be people following me around like a lot.
No, let me tell you something. Okay, so look, man, I understand, but let me tell you, like you would follow me around, right? And I had my friends with me too at one point, and there was some. And let me tell you, I'm not gonna say who they are, but very good very very high level players that I respect even today. They taught me a lot of things about the game, and I have a lot of respect for them. They would even be like, oh yeah, I got I got lemon zester. You know what I mean? I got clips of it. They would send me clips, all right, and I got the clips. But the thing is, like, I don't care to post that stuff because it's not like it doesn't move us forward. It doesn't get us anywhere. It just puts us in the same rut. So it's like, you know what I mean? Like anybody can get anybody, right? I always said this, like if I put 5 people against you, you can't always, you know what I mean? You're not gonna be able to kill all of them. You may be able to lay each one of us down at some point in the match, but it's like you know what I mean? The odds are against you. So it's always easy to make someone not be able to play or enjoy a game a lot of times. So, it happens to everybody. I do not condone it. I don't like doing it, even though like if I play with you, I would play with you. If I play against you, I would play against you. You know, and I personally am not the person to be like, oh yeah, screw this guy. You know, I will play a match and I'll move on. You know, sometimes I was like, at one point when I was playing on Xbox, I didn't want to play against you when I was playing on there because you would have your friends on your team, and I'm like, that's fine. They can enjoy their own game. I don't have to be there. You know what I mean? So, because a lot of times your friends, you know, that you're friends with on there and they're in your clan, you know, they teabag me. You know what I mean? Like I have no beef with them. It's like, all right, that's fine. You know what I mean? I don't know
It's
who
one
you
of the
are. You
things,
know,
man.
so
It's
it's
like
like
when
you
when
guys
you're
get
riding with
upset,
somebody, you
right?
know, you got somebody's like, hey, like I don't like this guy, or you got a couple people like, hey, like we don't like this guy. Everybody joins in to
Right,
kind
and
of
then they don't
pile
like,
on.
yeah, they pile on. They freaking like the
They're
football
like, oh,
team.
you don't like him, but I don't like him either.
Right. Yeah, and then you know everyone else will do that. But the thing is, like I don't like conflict a lot of times, and I'll try my best to try to like avoid it, or let's settle in some way, shape, or form. You know, it's fine if we have some like beef and feud for the sake of entertainment. You know, it's always fun. But at some point we have to come to some compromise. Some people are not like that. There's a lot of people that are not like that. So, you know, I appreciate everybody in the community because I really do like this game. Like when I started playing Battlefield 4 in 2021, because I hadn't played a Battlefield game in so long, I was like, well, let's play. I want to play Battlefield 4. I've missed out on it, and I got so hooked on the game. I played it, and then I was like, man, I still remember the days playing Battlefield 3. I was like, is people still playing Battlefield 3? I still had my PlayStation 3. I said, let's hook it up. I would put my original copy in the game in, and voila, people are playing. And I was so amazed that people were still playing, and that's when I was like, oh, I want to stream this, right? And then I just started like playing the game, enjoying the game, and there was just something about the retro look of the game, and that gave me memories of that time when when I was you know living in that moment, you know,
Oh
playing
yeah,
the
oh
game.
yeah.
So it made me want to maybe appreciate the game a lot more. And then, but it's funny because I played that, and then it made me not like Battlefield 4 that much because I was like,
BF4 is
why?
always BF4 is always gonna be worse than BF3.
Yeah,
It's
because
just the way
they
it is.
nerfed everything, you know, they nerfed
Yeah.
everything. They try to balance things, they try to make things more competitive, but they never went competitive with it. But um, so let's move on to the camp thing. So what is it that you guys what like I know some of it. You know, it's kind of similar along the lines of like, you know, what you were saying about me, oh, this guy's banning. Why is this guy banning? Why is this guy kicking people? You know, and then you guys kicked him out apparently of his own clan, or y'all tried. I don't even know how that even works, how you could even do that, but you know, you guys were trying to
Alright,
take.
I'm gonna give you the story, and it's a little bit of a long
Right,
story.
right,
A little
right.
bit of a long story. It's
But
like
yeah,
you gotta
tell the
remember, it's like
story.
10 plus
This
years.
is obviously your side of the story, and if Camp ever watched this, I want him to understand that I understand there's probably two sides of the coin, two sides of the story as well. So I'm always open to understand both sides.
According to you, there's two sides of the story. According to me and my side of the story, there's only one side of the
Well,
story,
apparently
because there's
you
one
are
side
always.
telling you the story.
Look, we already know it's always one
No,
side.
with you and me, there's two sides of the story. But with him, once I tell you the story, there's really only one side of the story.
I got you. I
Um,
got you.
so let's run it way back, like 10 plus years ago. I kind of told you that, like the thing with that, like I topped in the server, any. There was this other player, and then he introduced me to camps. Let's fast forward a few years to 2014, right? 2014. Um, Me and Camp, like we're playing. I'm starting to play with Camp a lot more, right? That Lost Clan that I was in, they really kind of started moving on to BF4. And then there was like another Battlefield coming out, which ended up being Hardline, and then, you know, this and that. So they were really starting to move out of BF3. Like before, we had like 70 members. It was down to like 20. It started getting down to 15, like active, you know, 2015 around there. So I was playing with Camp a lot, and then I was playing with the guy who like introduced me to camp still, and there was the third guy who ended up leaving because he got married and he had like wife and kids and stuff.
Right.
So camped started a clan with the guy that introduced me to him, and then there was this girl that had the gamer tag. Her name was Danosaurus26. So it's Danosaurus26, 80s Trash, who was the guy that introduced me to Camped. They started this clan called Dr. Clan. Now, the timeline of this is important because it's 2014, so it was kind of like an era where there was still a lot of the original competitive players still playing, but not as much, and they were starting to like go to different games, and they weren't really starting to play as competitively on BF3. It was just like they would still have crazy scores, but it wasn't like they were training or playing for like some massive esports tournament. You know what I'm trying to say?
Right.
But like obviously like the talent was still there in the player base. So they started this clan, right? And they had like the best players. Everybody respected Camp. He's one of the few players in the game that had every assault rifle on 100 service stars. Like he knew everybody. Everybody knew him. So they had a lot of people joining this. It was D, capital D, lowercase R. He was like telling me like, you gotta join. I'm like, no, I'm still like in Lost Clan, man. Like I can't leave. Like he was telling me, no, you gotta join. Long story short, they had about 7 servers. And Camp used to be a really nice guy. So Camp had about like 7 servers for the clan, except that he wasn't the owner on most of them. It was that Danosaurus girl that I was telling you about earlier.
Right.
But Camp bought like a bunch of players like premium and stuff. Like Camp was actually like a really nice dude. The Danosaurus girl, she started putting in like a lot of really bad players, and it's not like they were personally like horrible people or like mean. They were just like they would go like 10 and 20 or like 25 and 25 or whatever, 15 and 15. You get the point. Like 1 KD and under players, like
Right.
like 25 and 40, 25 and 30, stuff like that. And like he was like what are we doing here? You know what I mean? Like we got like all these bad players in the clan. You're kind of diluting the clan. Her and the guy that introduced me to Camp, they kicked him out. They kicked him out of the clan, right? They kicked him out completely. Like you're out, you're done. And they kept like all their little 1KD players. So Camp got like really mad because he had like 3 or 4 servers. He had like 5.
Right.
He's like, and I was in the party the same night that happened. I remember like it was yesterday. He's like, I'm gonna start a clan, and I guarantee everybody here it's gonna be the biggest, the baddest clan, and we're not gonna lose to anybody. And you hear somebody say that, and you're like, all right, you get a little dramatic here, you know what I mean? Kind of like the way I get dramatic now. You're like, all right, okay,
Right.
but obviously it was somebody that you could like really respect. He was like a battlefield encyclopedia. So this dude, he started Team I, and he got like, I'm not joking to you, the best of the best that were still left in the game. Like the best players. We had tankers that had like 20 KDs. You had infantry players. You had me like at that point. I had started to reach my prime. Where like I could like just go like 100-0, like whatever, like, and it got to the point like there were so many good players on the, like we would burst other clans, and obviously it's a 12v12 max. Like I would get left out of the clan roster for the 12v12. That's how good of a team we had. We had about 50 players, and it was just the best of the best. You had the best pilots going 100-0 and pub stomping, tankers that could just hit any jet, any heli out of the sky.
Right.
Infantry players. We played 40 clans, 40 clan matches. We went 40-0. We didn't lose a single one. It was insane.
Wow.
And then we merged with that Death Clan. They had a lot of the vehicle players, and we had most of the infantry players. So it was like a perfect alliance. So it was Team Death, Team I, Team Death. So like if you played or like started any beef with like one of the 2 clans, it was like a whole package. You understand what I'm saying? It was like a whole thing. So then we were fine. And then the leader of Death Clan was called Rat Trapping. And then throughout that like whole like thing where we went 40-0, there was this one point where there was this like clan called KAC. And there was this one guy, he like absolutely hated camp. And his name was like KAC Requiem. This guy he played for like I told you it's a long story.
Yeah.
This guy, he played for like 3 years, man. And I think in those 3 years, he only lost like 25 rounds max on pups. The dude was absolutely insane. In my top 10, any day of the week, any book, like all-time legend. This guy hated camp, so he kind of formed this clan with a lot of players that were in the top 100 on the leaderboards, and it was like a showdown. Kind of like how you and me had like beef, and now we're here talking. It was like a little, but it was like a clan match. It was like that, like the Titans of the Battlefield community. We won that, and he got so upset. That guy, he literally like, he never played again. That's how upset he got.
Right.
But that was like the first time that people were really kind of like, are we gonna stick by Camp's side or not? Like, are we gonna go over to this KAC clan? Like I was one of the people that I always stuck by Camp's side, no matter what. Like till the wheels fell off. Like 2017, 2018, like Death Clan leaves. They do their own thing. Rat trapping, that leader, he leaves. And then the Death Clan, they start being a bunch of clowns. They start kicking and banning everybody. And Camps was one of the people, he's like, yo, you guys can't just kick and ban everybody. Just because you want to.
Right.
So they left, they broke apart. Camp, I'm not gonna get too much into his personal like life, but he moved out of where like the state that he was living. He moved into a different state. He kind of went through some tough times, like some like substance like things. That's what a lot of people say. And then he like left and he came back. And then when he came back, I want to say around like 2019, like right before the pandemic started, he started using like a lot of shotguns.
Right.
And like if you play with Camp now, you'll notice he uses a lot of shotguns. And everybody's like, "What's going on, man? Like you kind of like this try hard, like assault rifles only. Like you're like one of the best players. What's going on?" But he still wasn't really kicking and banning people. He came back like a year ago, and he got a Cronus, and he just started like playing with the shotguns and the LBGs and the M320s, and everybody's like, "Okay, bro, like what's going on here? Like why are you playing like this?" So he starts kicking people out. And at first we were kind of
well, like, you say he started kicking people out that were questioning him?
People out of the servers. He would start kicking and banning people out of his server.
Okay.
And at that point, we didn't really do too much about it. Because it was like people that we mutually didn't like.
Okay.
So it was like, all right, whatever. Like, it's kind of like messed up, but whatever. Like, we kind of hate these guys, so whatever. Then he started kicking people out and banning people out that, like, we didn't really have any issue with. Like, we weren't really friends with them, but it was people that you had played with for, like, a good 7+ years, 8, since for, like, a long time. And, like, okay, like, we didn't really play an Xbox Live parties together, but we didn't have any issues with it.
Right.
And then what really started happening was there was a few people that kind of went up to him. They're like, "Hey, like you got to stop doing this." People that were in iClan, they're like, "You got to stop doing this. Like it's not right." And he just banned all those people. They're like, "Oh, you don't agree with me? I'm just gonna ban you out the server." So he started banning people. And he had kind of come into question because when he came back in 2019, he had a server, and he at one point. He had banned so many people in 2019 that the server actually became glitched and you could not get them banned from the server. That's how many people he banned
in
2019.
Well, the thing is about that you bring that up. So I own a server. So whenever you hit the number 40, or once you go past 40 people banned, the server the DICE never intended people to get that many people banned, but they didn't test it enough or debug it to the point where they would find that issue where if you get more than 40, whenever you make new settings or you save, it'll glitch out or won't show the information. But there's a way to fix it. If you have another server that has less than 40 people banned, if you go into that server and then you back out and then you go to the one with the 40 plus, it'll be normal. Now, there's other ways around it. You can have an alternate account that you're admin on. As long as that account doesn't make any bans or anything, you can still access and see everybody. Now, like the max number of people you could ban on on those servers is 100. So once you hit 100, that's
he
it.
hit so many people. Like you said, that 40 number. He banned so many people in 2019 that it was like the ban list was glitched. Like he had admins, right? And like people would type in the name, the gamer tag to get him unbanned and stuff. Like, they would click on the name and it wouldn't work. That's how bad it was. Like the thing was glitched and people got like really mad. So he left during the pandemic. He left and then he came back about a year and a half ago. And then like fast forward to like where like the people in the iClan were like, you can't do this. And he started banning them. Like for me, it was like something like really like sad to see somebody who was like so good kind of stoop down to that level. So I kind of went over to him one day. I was like, just me and him. And it's kind of like I say, a personal thing because he's like a few years older than me. So he's the guy that showed me how to play the game. You know what I mean? It's like a special.
Right.
It's like a special connection. And like I became like one of the most notorious players on Xbox, and it's like because of him. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I was like, bro, like, we've been playing for like 10 plus years, man. Like we've been like the best friends, and like I don't know how to say this to you, but like you really been messing like with the whole like brotherhood. Like when you started iClan like so many years ago, like everybody joined because they were so upset that you got kicked out of the other clan after you had bought people premium and had all these servers rented, and like they stuck with you like through thick and thin for like 10 years almost, bro. And you just gonna start banning people when like you're doing the wrong thing and you have this Cronus Max. So he didn't say anything. He didn't say anything.
Right.
He went on mute. So I hop in the next day in the server, and guess what? I got banned.
You got banned, right? He's like,
I got banned. So I'm like, bro, like, come on, it's me. So he unbanned me. And then he unbanned me the next day. And then, long story short, he's like, "Yeah, okay, I'm gonna unban you, but you have to play on my team, like no matter what." And I was like, well, what do you mean?
right.
He's like, you got to play on my team, like no matter what, and like maybe I'll unban some of these guys from my clan, but they got to play on my team, no matter what. And we're like, okay, bro, but you have a Cronus and you're just using shotguns in the back, and you're not balancing any of your servers. Like he just wants to like he doesn't care if you're getting based or if he's basing. He won't balance anything at this point. He doesn't care. He just wants to like get a few kills and like have a high KD and like camp in the back. We're like, no, bro, like we're gonna keep the server balanced. We're gonna play against each other. Boom, we all got banned like again instantly.
Yeah.
So that's when we had a little,
right.
we had a little vote, and we're like, okay, we know he founded it and he's the leader, but he's done. He's out. Like he's done.
Right. Right.
So we kicked him out, and they were like, all right, like Lemon, like you're in charge. I'm like, all right, I guess I'm in charge.
Well,
like,
who said you're in charge?
So we had a few people in the vote, and they were just like, all right, like Lemon, like you take over. And I'm like, because I'm one of the guys that's still playing. Like you don't see that many people with clan tags running around anymore.
Right.
So I was like, all right, like I'm like, okay, realistically, like there's maybe like 5 to 10 people still playing. Like this just like whatever. Like if he doesn't want to take the clan tag off, then whatever, just let him do his own thing.
Right, because the only other person. Well, actually, no, that's not. Never mind. Okay, so you became the new leader, quote unquote. I mean, that's he's technically still the leader because he. You know what I mean? You can't vote somebody. You can't technically vote.
He's done, bro. He's
right.
done.
Right. I know. Within the people who were banned from iClan, and he still rocks the iClan because he is the founder of the iClan, right?
He can rock whatever he wants. If there's ever a
there's no
remaster,
right, but there's no procedure.
3 remaster. He's not in the group. Not much I can tell
right,
you.
But there's no like legal or you can't dethrone him, right? You could only like verbally tell him, oh yeah, you're not in my head, you're not part of the clan anymore. But I digress. The thing is this. So from there, now you guys are now going into the R clan. Is that when this happens?
Yes. So the R clan, with the whole project for like 2042, obviously 2042 was like a flop.
Obviously, yeah.
So we're like,
game was trash.
So our clan really started picking up steam. I want to say around March, April, May when he would start banning everybody. That's when it really started picking up steam on Xbox. We have a few players on PlayStation, a few players on PC. We're kind of growing the footholds on PS3 and PC. Like we got some big things planned for Venice Unleashed next year, but that's really when they started picking up steam on Xbox when everybody's like, all right, like we got to do something about this. With the thing with Camped, I'll tell you this much: he's a really smart like Battlefield player, in the sense that like everything that he said was gonna happen. And I know it sounds kind of like weird, but everything that he said was gonna happen like 10 years ago absolutely happened. He called like Nightmare. If you go on the leaderboards, he told everybody Nightmare, when it's all said and done, it's gonna be like #1 all time. And like Nightmare wasn't even like top 50. Like he would just like see a clan match between two different clans, and he'd be like, this clan's gonna win by like 70 tickets. And like lo and behold, they would win by like 73 tickets or something. It was like insane. Like it was like he was like the Oracle. It was like really weird actually. So he's like such a smart Battlefield player. One of the things that he would always say is like, I can keep a server full anytime, no matter what. And if you notice, like his server is like the server that's always full, like no matter what. So it's kind of like a weird thing with him. He's like, he used to be like really nice. Now he just like bans everybody. Anybody that's like really good, he just kicks them out immediately. And then the thing is, he says that they're cheating, but he's the one with the Cronus Max. And he turns up the aim assist on it. And I know you might be like, oh, like it's not cheating. Like, listen, if you're performance enhancing, then it's definitely not clean. Let's just keep it that way.
Right. I personally don't like certain tools that are available on those devices, like recoil control.
That's what he's running, man.
Or like you have like, you know, certain things like you could probably macro certain things.
And then you've got the other guy behind him. It's like little Farn Tactical.
Is it Farn Tactical? Okay, so
you got the other guy. You got like you know like the movie villains, like the Marvel movie villains. They have like the underling. He's like the little underling, the gremlin.
Okay, so why do you have issues with him?
Well, that guy also, sorry, he bought a Cronus Max, and they bought modded controllers too. I'm like, okay, what is this, like 2010? But fine. That guy, and this is, you can tell me like there's two sides of the story, but this is proven fact within the community. He pays Camped $100 a month, which he calls donations, to be admin on the server. And then what he does is that he bans anybody that he doesn't like, and then he just blames it on Camped. He's like, oh, like, yeah, like Camp told me to ban you. It's like, no, he didn't. So he basically uses Camped as like a scapegoat, like a little shield to like ban whoever he wants. And it's just not cool, because the player base is so low. It's like you can't be doing this sort of stuff. Like if it was like 2015 and you had all the witch hunts and the clan wars, okay, you know, there's like 20. Like I remember when there was like 20 Metro servers you could play on. Now there's like 3 servers max on like any on like like you go midnight any. You know, midnight Eastern Standard Time, there's 3 servers max. Like you can't do that. You gotta have respect for people. Like you ban somebody from a Metro server and that's it. Like they're done for the night. They turn off their Xbox. They're like, well, I guess they can't play anymore. You know,
I agree with you there, man.
It's not cool.
I agree with you on that. The fact that, you know, there's not a lot of players, and that's where I've come to terms to accept for myself. And listen, I will tell you, if I will admit to things, and there's certain things I don't admit in the moment, but you know, I agree with you. Like I do ban people a lot. I do kick people a lot, and then a lot of times it's just a misunderstanding, or I get too heated. You know, and I've said that's why I always try to be as like explaining things and try to be communicative or communicate it to people, make it easy. Like, hey, if your ping is high, you know what I mean. You know, I will. You know, I don't put like, oh, if you're suspicious, because there's some people who do that. I try to be upfront. Hey, if I feel your ping is high, I might kick you, or you know, I'll mention in the thing you might get balanced, but. And I'll switch people or I'll kick people and people don't like it. But, you know, it's different on PC. You don't have that choice on PC console players, by the way. But, you know, if you're but I come to terms to accept it because I know that the community is small, and instead of trying to fight with everybody, I would prefer to just get along with people because it just makes things a lot easier. I don't have to get into all these beefs. And I understand you don't like some of these people and they use modified controllers. I personally don't have any beef with them. I'm fine. I'm personally fine with them. Like, I don't see them like even though you told me they use Cronus, or quote unquote they use Cronus Maxes and stuff, I personally can still kill them. They're not unkillable.
That's not the point, because I can tell you this much, like me personally, not to like interrupt you. Like when I'm really trying, like we played last night, like I wasn't really trying. Like when I turn on the heat, man, like when I turn on the jets, like I can slay anybody out just about. Like Cronus Max, mouse and keyboard, whatever you wanna, like go put on like a Nintendo Wii controller. Like I don't care. Like you use whatever you want, I'm still gonna beat you.
Right,
Like,
right.
that's not the point.
It's a skill
thing. It's
thing.
not about me. It's not about me. It's
Well,
like you're not playing the game the right way. And then you have like a lot of these. There's like a few low-level players still. They hop in the game, and it's like it's not fair to everybody else that really took the time to get good, like to play the game the right way and to like be a good player. And then you want to like rent a server and then like hide behind the fact that it's like your server, so you can't get kicked out. And you have a Cronus Max. And it's like, oh, well, like I'm just as good as you. No, you're not.
Right, but the thing is this. Remember, the commercial specifically says this: play how you want to play. Right? That's the whole idea. The whole rental server program was based off of that. Play however you want to play, invite who you want. And I agree with you. Not many servers now, so you got to be careful who you're kicking and banning and stuff. But like that's just what comes with it,
That's where the R clan takes off, man. Because okay, you want to play the way you want to play, well then we're gonna play the way we want to play. And it might be. We always say, I won't speak for everybody in the clan, but I always say it might be your server, but it's our community. Like okay, you got your own little server that you're the owner. You want to go and cheat and ban everybody? That's fine. Don't worry about it. You do what you do. When we see you on a different server, when we see you on a server that's not yours, just be ready, man. We're coming for you. Right. You don't have to run back in your server, broski.
See, I'm not too crazy. I'm not too crazy about that.
What it is. Yeah,
but the thing is this: you have to also remember, you got to take your own advice too, because you can't give advice and be like, oh yeah, the community's small, but then I'm going to target one person. And then, you're not really like, you're not making amends in any situation when you go with this approach.
We tried nicely,
right? But
man.
sometimes you need time. You need time to heal. You need certain things to settle, come down. Before you come back and start a conversation again.
I'll tell you this much. When there was like a lot of try-hard clans and they all kind of agreed on the unwritten rules on Xbox, the community was a beautiful thing. And I understand now that the game is really old and that for a lot of people, just because it's old, it doesn't mean as much. I understand that. But when you don't have a centralized force setting the meta, what you get is what you're seeing on Xbox. A bunch of people with Cronus Maxes. Every Metro server you hop in there's people spamming grenades up the wazooie, people spamming M320s up the wazooie. You can't have a normal round without somebody running into your spawn in alpha. You hop on like an air map, you can't even like have your vehicle spawn in because you got people like shooting your vehicle out, the little like air pilots. It's a mess. Nobody plays with any respect. Nobody plays with any honor or any intention of like having the gameplay be fun for everybody.
Right.
It's just I'm admin on this server. I'm owner on this server. I get to play the way that I want to play because I paid for it, which I respect. We respect. Okay, you paid for the server, but like the morality of the situation is that, okay, you want to cheat, you want to use these like scummy tactics. Okay, that's fine. Every action has a reaction, and that's just the way it is, man. It's just a reaction. It's a brotherhood, and that's why you see it growing so fast. That's why you see it starting to go, little rumors. We're going on PC. We're going on PlayStation. We got some people, some developers, Venice Unleashed we're talking to. We got some big things. We got the website cooking, which is only like 10% complete at this point. But a little bit of the merch store. We got a thing going,
man. It's definitely 10%. That's for sure. because my question, and not to rip on it, I'm gonna just, you know what I mean. Like, by the way, I don't have any issues with any of the players really on Xbox or Camp or Fanthartic, or was it Tactical Farm? Was it
Listen, man, that's
those
another
guys?
thing with us.
Those guys
That's
I don't have
another.
a problem with. From what I've seen, because I want to give them a little bit of credit. So
Well,
when
okay.
I play with them, I've always played with them. Either I do see when they switch teams, and there's times where I see where they switch teams when they shouldn't have switched teams. But that's just my opinion. But like I played on that server. I can see the things that you're talking about, but also I've been kind of favored a lot of times with certain admins where they don't put me in that situation sometimes, depending on who I'm playing with. So, maybe for you it's a little bit different because you guys have such a strong history amongst each other and stuff like that. So, but to move on, okay, we're going to get close to wrapping this up. Like the website, the official roster here. I see the official roster. You got a lot of people on here. Okay.
Okay, let me scroll on your stream here to see what you're
Well,
looking
I'm
at.
not showing it on here. I'm kind of looking at off
okay.
the
Oh, you're
screen.
just looking at it. Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
I'm looking at it. But then I see you
Hmm.
got influencers. You only got what, two
Mhm.
influencers?
We got a few more.
Now, why is
you
the
know.
shop merch? Why is it so expensive? You tell me why.
So the shop merch was so expensive for a few reasons. Number
It was
one,
done on
just to
purpose.
get the people talking about it a little bit. If you get some sales and you got a lot of profit, we sold a couple things here and there, not a lot. Just a couple little items here and there. The merch, if you click on it now, is actually a lot cheaper than what
Yeah,
it was.
I already see
It's
it.
not necessarily cheap.
Yeah, it said Champions
But it's
hoodie for
still
$1,000. I said, "What's my man? Is
it's
it made
down
out of gold?
it's down to 99. It's down to $99.
Is there a gold plate underneath that
Um,
hoodie somewhere,
so
or what?"
get them while you can. It's marked down 90%. I'm just playing. It's staying at that price.
Right.
For the time being. For as long as we perceive it, it's gonna stay at that price. But
Okay.
yeah, we got the merch thing going on. The influencers. If you click on the influencers, I think everybody that plays Battlefield a lot knows who Danny on PC is. A very well respected person within the community. We've got some talks and some negotiations and stuff. The thing with our clan is like we're really gonna, if it works out, we're really gonna get our people on top. Like we're gonna help him succeed. Like Danny, he's got a great channel. We want to see Danny with like 250,000, like
Okay.
500,000 subscribers. Like he's at 50 something. I want to say 57 and a half right
Mhm.
now. Like he's trying to get to 100. When it's not gonna happen, obviously overnight. We're talking about a year or two down the road. This is a big project, and it's just really in the beginnings. If you click on the other guy, you click on Roscoe, big friend of ours, good friend of ours. I've been playing with him for a long time, and he's been playing with a lot of our members for quite a few years now.
Right.
He's got a big channel. He's more on the music side, and like the lifestyle, but he's got over 1 million subscribers. We know quite a few people, in that 250,000 plus range that we're trying to get on board.
Right.
The thing is, stuff like that. When you're kind of talking with big channels and things like that, it's like contracts and things like. We're not really there yet, where we're having like official contracts and then people sign and stuff.
Right.
We're not really there yet, so it's But I can tell you this: 2024 is going to be a big year for Battlefield 3, and that's a guarantee. And you can think whatever you want to think about me. You can say whatever you want to say about me. But one thing with me is that when I tell you something, I deliver on it. And I'm telling you right now, it's a Lemon Zester guarantee. 2024 is going to be a big year for Battlefield 3.
Right. Well, the running joke is that you were saying there's gonna be like thousands coming, and
Yeah, bro.
if people
Yeah.
would, it's hard for anybody to take that
We're
serious
standing
because
by
the
that.
game is old. Right.
You have a friend. I think he just loves to play DLC servers. It's like the Hear My Laps. I think he
Yeah,
goes by
Legal
like
Rocker. Legal Rocker.
Yeah. Yeah. So he joined briefly. Then we had a little problem with him, so we kicked him out.
Yeah, but
But
you
he
know,
joined.
but but
He
but
joined.
but
I'm
you
not gonna say
guys
the
had what a
problem, but
disagreement,
he
right?
joined. He joined. Yeah, we had disagreement over some players that he's friends with.
Mm-hmm.
That I won't get too much into that story, but the
Right.
players that he's friends with, they used to find people's addresses.
Oh,
And they used
really?
to like stalk
Docs,
people
docs
like in
him.
personal. They used to like personally stalk like they would add them on they would create like fake accounts like add them on like Facebook and like Instagram and
Try to
Snapchat
catfish.
and like Twitter and it was just like it was nasty and like we don't like that's where I draw the line. Like I'm not gonna like have people like personally like I'm not gonna be like yo like somebody go find like Anthony's Facebook and like start like
Right.
no like no that's where I draw the line. So we were like all right like you get out of here. But he joined, and then like the very next day, he's like, "Okay, like where is everybody?" And we're like, "What?" And he's
What?
like, "No, you said there was gonna be like hundreds of people playing."
Mm-hmm.
Like we were like, "Yeah, but like not like overnight, man. Like this is you gotta
Right.
plan things
So he
out. You
was
know what
just
I
he
mean?"
was questioning y'all's whole like y'all's whole like statement of on there's gonna be thousands or there's gonna
There,
be all these
I
people.
guarantee you, I guarantee
But
you,
see,
my
don't you
friend.
not think do you not think that is kind of almost like a understanding? You know, when you're
No,
saying, hey, there's gonna be so many more people playing, and then they come
I
but what if like for
guarantee
like
you.
let's give an example. Like, he's one example, but like we even though I played with him before, um, like you have other players, right, that are new to the game. They never had a chance to play Battlefield 3, and they're coming into the game and they hear something like that. I mean, do you not think it's a little bit misleading because it right? You say it's a guarantee, but right,
Guarantee.
I'm not gonna hold you against that because listen, there's
No,
no
I
such thing
want
as
you
a
to hold me
guarantee,
against it. It's a
but
guarantee.
right. To you, it's a guarantee, but in reality, to most people, they're like, well, the game is over 10 years old now. There's
Mm-hmm.
only this set amount of people. Listen,
Okay.
I have my ways of trying to bring people into the game, but the way you guys going about it, I question because I'm being pressed. I'm pressing you on it. It's like when a new player joins, they're like, "Well, what's this guy talking about?" And then they may ask you other questions, and you're like, "Oh yeah, well not overnight." But then they might see like, "Oh, why is this guy not like this guy, or why is this guy not like that guy?" Right? And then it becomes a little there's a miscommunication because you're not actually like this in real life. It's just your way of having fun with it, right? So there's a little bit of a confusion, that happens with like seeing this and then they go to the website and then like,
I'll
well, what
tell
is this
you. I'll
public
tell you.
enemies? You know what I mean? They people go like,
Hey, you
well,
like that list? Hey, you're on that
I
list.
am on the list. I'm on the number 3. I was probably not number 1,
We
but
gotta get the
it's like,
podium.
but like you have this list and like I don't particularly care, but it's like I find it hilarious because you actually have like you even got Lord Hijinks on there, the guy from the Reddit moderator,
Oh,
right?
we've. I'll tell you right now. I'll tell you right now. We're plotting. We're plotting against that. He better watch out. I hope he's watching. He's probably not watching. I hope he's
He
watching. That guy
doesn't
better watch.
care.
That guy. Oh, that's the thing. That's the thing. It's like when you first like banned me from the server. Like I don't know if you care now. Like like care. But like when people first have like something with like me. I won't speak for everybody in our clan. When people first have something with me, like my crew. They're like, I don't care. Like, lemon zester. Like, what is that? Like a fruit? Like, what? Lemon? And then, like, after a few weeks, they're like, okay, yeah, like this guy's like these people. They're like they're a little legit. Like, they don't forget.
Right.
So I can tell you this much: he might not care today. He's gonna care eventually. That much. That's a guarantee.
You
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 better
think
watch
so?
out.
You think so?
No,
Well,
no, it's a guarantee. No, we got,
well,
we got. I'm not gonna get too much into it, but we got something cooking for the Battlefield 3 subreddit
right.
for
Well, I will say
early
this. I,
2024.
I will say this. The Battlefield to subreddit is kind of outdated. It's old. It's not really active at all. And some of the people like that are running it, some of the admins that are running it, they're kind of the old heads that have been kind of just managing it. Me
I'll
personally,
tell you this much. I'll tell you this much. Like we're loyal players. We got a brotherhood going on, and like I have no problem, like even with you personally, like you could join. I have no problem with that. Like anybody can join. we're gonna draw a line in the sand eventually, and it's gonna be us versus everybody else. You look at the history of the Battlefield franchise from BF3, everybody thought it was only gonna go up. You look at the horrible launch of Battlefield 4, and even to this day, Battlefield 4 never really truly was greater than Battlefield 3. Then you look at what Hardline was, it should have been the DLC. Then you look at Battlefield 1, okay, the atmosphere, nobody's arguing that the atmosphere was amazing. But the actual gameplay with the bullet deviation and the lack of guns and just the catering to the low ceiling, the low skill players, that's unforgivable. Then you look at Battlefield 5, you don't even have to say anything with that. From the trailer, everybody was like, what is this? That took a whole year to like make it a decent game. And then 2042, everybody thought, okay, finally, we're going to have a great Battlefield. And look at that, to the point where EA and DICE were even lying to the community, saying that they were ahead of the cycle with the devs, and the game was broken. We know the players. We were playing with them when the game first launched. A lot of these guys got big YouTube channels. A lot of these guys got a lot of influence. We're getting everybody on board, pulling in the same direction. I'm not going to get too much into it. I'll say 2 words. Venice Unleashed 2024. When we take off, we're going to take off. The community's going to take off, and there's going to be a line in the sand. You're either playing Venice Unleashed and Battlefield 3, or you're against us.
Right.
And it's not like you can't play anything else. It's not like you can't play anything else. But you're either, you know, if you're somebody with a lot of influence in the community and you see the way the franchise has gone, and okay, Battlefield 3 is really old, but even though it's really old, it's still the best Battlefield playable. You might say Bad Company 2, but that's like, to us, that's like just like way too old. BF3 is the best Battlefield, and you look in real life, you have, for example, in real life, movies that come out, and then the sequels are not nearly as good. You have cars that come out. You got classic cars from the 60s and 70s that are better than the cars now. So you look from a real life standpoint, and video games don't always work like this. But from a real life standpoint, even like sport players, some of the people that came before are better than the things that are brand new. And the Battlefield is the same way. And a lot of the people, they don't play Battlefield 3 because they're like, oh, it's so old. Nobody plays it like that anymore. That's what we're going to do. We're going to get everybody back in the game, and we're going to take off, and we're going to draw a line in the sand. And if it's going to spark a lot of drama, it's going to spark a lot of beef, it's going to be nasty. But you know what? It's what's needed to do. It's what's needed to happen, because the way the franchise is going, you go on Twitch right now or YouTube and you put in Battlefield 2042 and nobody's watching Battlefield 2042 gameplay. Nobody. If anybody has more than like 250 viewers at the same time, it's like wow. You have the newest Battlefield game, nobody cares about it, and it's unacceptable. And we're going to change it. And we know, and I'm telling you, like me, and I won't speak for everybody else. Like, because a lot of people that are in the group, they're really nice, but we're going to draw a line in the sand. And we know the people, we know the players. We have to, not to get dramatic with you, although I'm getting dramatic with you. We have the firepower. we had.
You're getting very dramatic. It's fine.
We've got the firepower available. We've got the arsenal to really make it happen. It's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to be like, you're not going to tune in. You know, you're not going to get online September 30th and there's going to be 10,000 people playing. It's not going to be like that. But this time next year, I guarantee you it's going to happen. We're going to, at the very least, we're going to spark a debate within the whole entire Battlefield community.
That's fine. And, you know, we could definitely do that from a year from now.
We're going after a lot of these big time, and we know who they are, these big time 2 million plus Battlefield YouTubers who get sponsored by EA And now they're playing Warzone, and Warzone now the Battlefield gets no views. They want to play Warzone, and they don't call out EA, and we know who it is. I'm not gonna say who it is. One of them, his name rhymes with Bestie. And that's all I'm gonna say.
Why do you have beef with that guy?
These guys.
I don't think
these big time YouTubers talking about, oh, Battlefield 22 is gonna be beautiful. Battlefield 22 is gonna be great.
Hey, but you can't
wait for it.
But let me
Get
say,
invited to all the EA events, and you're looking at somebody like me. You're looking at somebody like me, and you're like, what do you have? Like, you know what I mean? What's the type of beef that you got? You gotta remember, bro. I saw Stone Mountain 64 on BF3 back in the day, bro. Like, that guy used to just be like a random, like, he used to just play, bro. And like, even like on the smaller scale, like Anarchy Ninja, he used to just play, be in the Xbox Live Party, just vibing, bro. You know what I mean? And a lot of these people, like, we used to know, they used to just play, bro. Same thing on PC. They used to just play the game. There was nobody. And now you got all the money. You got all the millions of subscribers. And Battlefield 22 is going to be beautiful. Oh, is it really? Okay.
Well, hey, look, let me say this. Look, don't hate the player, hate the game. That's all I'm going to say. At the end of the day,
we're going for the game as well.
Right.
We're going for everybody.
But there's people who do it out of the sake of making it a business, and that's what makes them successful and separates them from doing what they do. Yeah, you may not agree because you're like, oh, this guy's just being a shill. He's talking about this terrible game, right?
Level Cap had some constructive criticism. I think it was for Battlefield 1, and they haven't invited him since to an event.
Well, yeah, because
all these guys, they play the game. They say good things, and they know, because if they say something bad, then they don't want to, they don't want to ruin the relationship. They don't want a relationship.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta understand that.
We got the firepower. That's the thing. We know the people.
Right.
And when we start hitting the top, bro, we don't care about any You know me at this point. I don't care about any relationships. We're gonna burn all the bridges.
I mean, look, I don't agree with that, because you should try to make a. But then again, it's a difference between our age. It's a difference between our age and how we approach things.
Look at the way 2042 released. Whose idea was? And I know we're gonna wrap up soon.
Yeah.
But whose idea was it to put No Shark Canals and Caspian Border or whatever in Portal?
Well, let me tell you. Let me explain that. I've said this before, because the game is revolved around of the idea of every map is all-out warfare. Right? Those maps fit that all-out warfare scenario, right? Because there aren't any maps that are infantry only. There are no infantry only. There are no maps like Rush or like TDM, where you know how like in Team Deathmatch the maps are like modified slightly for Team Deathmatch to work, or Rush is modified in a way that it flows, like an event, right? Like you play like Battlefield 1 Operations, it feels like you're in a movie. You know what I mean? You're going through these events.
Nobody asked for this all-out warfare. People just want a BF3, BF4 style game. That's all people want, man. Yeah. And we're gonna give it to them. And I'll tell you this much. It's the last thing in terms of the dramatic stuff I'll say. When people are like, oh, you're not gonna get 5 members to join, and we got 5. They're like, you're not gonna get 50, and we got 50. Yeah, you're not gonna get 100. Yeah, we got 100. Oh, you're not gonna get anybody with any reputation to join. We got people with YouTube channels joining. Oh, you're not gonna get anybody with more than 25,000 subscribers or that knows anybody to join. And we got people like Danny on PC joining. Oh, you're not gonna get anybody that's actually somebody. We got guys with 1 million+ subscribers joining.
Right.
Oh, you're not gonna do anything. You think you can bring players back? I'm telling you, everything everybody said is not gonna happen. It's happened so far, and I can tell you, within a year, this time next year, man, we're taking over, and that's it.
All right.
And we're not letting go. We're not letting go, because we don't care. It's a brotherhood, and it's a brotherhood tied to the belief that Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 4, to a certain extent, were the best battlefields, and that's it, man. Venice Unleashed.
Yeah, man. Hey, I'm all about that.
They're like, oh, you're not
can get on there, man.
Venice Unleashed. Now we're talking to the devs, and we'll keep that. I'm gonna keep that top secret. But now we're talking to the devs.
Yeah. I know Venice Unleashed. They need people over there, because I heard there's not that many.
And they need people, and we're looking to get people on there.
Yeah.
and we're trying to get some big YouTube people joining, and I think y'all can put two and two together and see where this is going.
Yeah.
So that's all, But it's your stream. I'm gonna let you start wrapping up because I know you're trying to wrap up.
Yeah, no, you're good. I just want to kind of
60 minutes. You're getting 120. Y'all getting all the content.
Yeah,
today.
yeah. Well, it's a little bit of everything. So I wanted you to kind of just say your part and everything, and so that everyone kind of understands. I didn't want to interrupt. But like, yeah, the Venice Unleashed thing is real. Not a lot of players. A lot of people play on, like, I think on the weekends. But the thing is, like, that for me is not at its full potential yet, because Battlefield 3 is still active, right? You can still play on all those servers. You know what I mean? So, and most of the time, people are going to preferably play on the vanilla version of the game versus a modified version, unless the original version is plagued, right? Where there's like cheaters or things that are like, compromising your security or your privacy, right? That's usually like for example, like Modern Warfare 2, right? In Modern Warfare 3, everyone stopped playing the original client version on PC, and they made the plutonium, right? So that's like a perfect example.
Last thing I'm gonna say is, if I told you next week there's gonna be a B flag tournament on Venice Unleashed with a prize pool of $10,000, you don't think people will start playing? You don't think all this
money,
come out the woodwork?
Money talks. Money talks. But the money's got to be there. The money's got to be there.
That's all I gotta say, man. 2024, stay tuned. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm gonna, dropping a couple hints here and there.
Yeah, hey,
that's
man,
all I'm gonna say.
Do it. Like, do it, because at the end of the day, consistency is where it's at. You have to actively be consistent. Yeah, I recommend you guys, stream a bit more, get actually quality content, maybe get some of the players that you could chat with, get so that people can get to know who they are. Now, I mean, you already gave your spiel about the whole thing, and there's things I don't agree with, some of the things, because I know you're joking, but like some people may not understand that you're joking, or it's a little, it's kind of like a, it's not to be taken serious.
Got a little reputation on the Xbox.
Right. But nobody knows your reputation. Like coming from a new, and I'm talking about like a new person, new player, because they're gonna look and be like, oh, why does this guy have a problem with this guy? Or you know what I mean? He doesn't seem like a bad person to me, right? So there's gonna be like a misunderstanding. But at the end of the day, man, hey, do what you do. You do you. I totally look. Maybe over time you'll maybe understand as you get older, because let me say this: it takes more energy to be a particular way that is outside of the like who you are, and after a while it may become tiring to have to hold that persona. But you do you. You're young. I highly recommend make yourself more inviting. Let people know that you want more people to join. That's what my channel is all about. I'm all about streaming the game, meeting new people, talking to people right away, getting to know people, where they come from, establishing relationships and getting people to play again. Maybe they used to play, because I get a lot of players I used to watch. They used to play a long time ago. Some people actually decide to come back. So, and then some players, they're kind of like, oh man, this looks really fun. I never played it before. And, they jump in, they get a PlayStation, or maybe they get an Xbox, and they jump in and play. Like when I was playing the other stream, 2 streams ago, I had people in my chat, and they're just like, man, I want to play this. Like I'm on the fence to buy it, and they go and buy it,
They buy it,
and then they play the game with you and stuff. And I try to give people advice to because I always say, like, the Metro servers, yeah, it looks fun when I'm playing, but a lot of times that's not the same reality with them, because they don't understand. They don't have like the experience and knowledge like I do when it comes, or like you do, where how the lag works, how the servers are, how the guns handle. So there's this, it could turn them off from playing a Metro that's a very sweaty Metro. That's why I call it Sweatro, or the Sweat Lords. I point them out because it's a very sweaty game. It's very sweaty. So I always recommend to those players, hey, play team deathmatch, because that's more casual. You know what I mean? Go play Rush, go play the regular conquest modes, you know, and just kind of get a feel for the game. And then when you feel like you need to test your might, then maybe join a Metro game, because it's a very you know, it's a very like mind consuming game when you're playing
Oh
that.
yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
know.
But you gotta remember here that your channel and what you do, you have a different objective from what we're trying to do. You know
Oh
what I
yeah,
mean?
for sure.
You are definitely like, you engage in with all the viewers, and you got the tips and tricks. Like they have like my game won't start. I'm getting this error message. You got like all these videos set up on like how to fix things and stuff. We are taken over by force because we tried nicely. We tried nicely various times, and these people, they want to keep cheating with the Cronus Max, which in our point of view is cheating. People, they want to use all these horrible tactics. Look at the player base; it's completely plummeted within the last year. Completely plummeted. You got Bad Company 2. DICE already announced that they're shutting down the servers. How long until they say that we're going to shut down the servers for Battlefield 3? Oh, people don't think about that.
Oh yeah, I
You
mean,
got 2042 is horrible.
there's definitely like
And
a contract.
we're in a position where we know a lot of the old school players that got a lot of influence and a lot of bigger channels, and it's not like people got to pay a fee or some sort of service charge of being the clan, and we're going to grow our own people, we're going to grow our own channels, and we're going to grow Venice Unleashed, and it's going to be a beautiful thing, and we're going to take over. And whenever you take over, there's always going to be people on the other side, that they don't want that to happen. They're going to fight against you. And that's why I said we're going to draw a line in the sand. You just look at this. The guys on the Reddit, the subreddit, I'm telling you, 2024, they're going to watch out. They better watch out.
Well,
EA and DICE, 2024, they better watch out. They think they're going to pump out these skins and the whatever, the operators or whatever in the battlefield like it's Apex Legends. Watch out, because it's going to be Venice Unleashed. And I guarantee it, 100%.
Yeah. Well, hey man, look, the company's just there to just make the games. But like when the whole Reddit thing, look, you don't have to really even.
And I'll tell you this much. Imagine right now, Anthony. Imagine right now if our clan had a channel with 100,000 subscribers, with the type of attitude that that we have. You don't think we would be causing a lot of noise? We'd be causing noise left and right.
Right, but the thing is,
regardless of what people come back or not, we're gonna shake the house.
Okay, all right. But the thing is, that's not what it is, right? You guys are not that, right? But you got to get there eventually. You got to get there, right?
We're gonna get there soon, man.
Right. Well,
we're gonna get there soon.
You know what I mean? You gotta at least do it before they close the servers, because what if they close the servers?
We're gonna do it soon. Trust me. Just wait till we have 4 or 5 of these people with 1 million subscribers, 500,000 subscribers, and they're all like, "Hey, look at this our clan project. We want everybody to go ahead, take a look at them, join, subscribe. We agree with them. Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4. That's what we believe in. That's what you should believe in. X, Y, and Z. We're not partnered with EA. We're not sponsored by EA like these big time Westy YouTubers." And you should go play these old games, because you know what? They're better than the new ones. And you're going to hear a lot of these big time YouTubers say, "Oh, like that game's really old." It doesn't matter that it's old. It's a better experience. You know it's a better experience. I know it. Everybody knows it. Let's go and play it.
Simple as that. But I mean, I'm not gonna shake everybody down because they don't agree. But like that's the part.
That's you.
Right, and that's what I don't agree with. But it's just, that's fine. You can continue doing whatever you choose to do because it's your choice. You know what I mean? And I hope the best for you guys. But, like I said, when a new person comes to you guys and and they hear this, they're gonna be like, "What is this guy talking about?" Like, you know what I mean? The game's old. What does he mean? When we get 100,000 people, we're gonna shake everything up. It's like, if you have issue, this is what I'm gonna say. If you have issues with like a subreddit, right? If you have issues with that Reddit, and I'm gonna disagree to a point where it's like, okay, yeah, it's an old Reddit, it's been there, right? And it's old. The people there have been there active for a very, very, very long time. I personally think that there should be just either you step down, you get someone else, but someone else has to step up or you make your own subreddit, right? And that's what I would implore you to do. It's like, hey, make your own subreddit, make our clan subreddit for Battlefield 3, or if you don't want to be that clicky, you can just be like, hey, this is the
No, listen,
modern
man. See, this is a good idea, but I
Battlefield
can tell you
3
we've already thought about that.
subreddit.
And we're gonna have a subreddit. We already thought about that. I'll put that as a little secret.
Because
But I'll put that out
because
there
that's
as a
not
good idea.
illegal.
We're
That's not
We're
illegal.
gonna have that.
You
We're
can
gonna
do
have
that.
everything. Listen, it's gonna have Instagram. We're gonna have TikTok. You name it. Even a Facebook page for all the people that still like to use Facebook. It's all getting developed, and that's why I'm telling you, 2024. This stuff takes time. We got people developing things. We got people coming out with logos, graphic designers. We got whole think tanks of people going through with ideas, man. Like it's a real thing. It's not just like Walkbot, Zermi, and Lemon Zester like playing B flag, like shooting pipe dreams. It's a real thing with real people, and it's happening.
Right. I got you. All right. Well, just to wrap things up. So, a couple quick questions. Have you played 2042?
I played it. I
You
didn't
have
like
played it? You didn't like
I
it?
stopped playing it. I played
Okay.
it for like a week. I'm like, this isn't it.
Right. And then you were done. Okay, cool. I just want to, these are going to be quick questions. All right. So you played 2042. When was the last time you played Battlefield 4?
Battlefield 4, like a round or two, or like actually like we would play like every night, like
Yeah,
like a
no,
few
the
hours.
last time you put the disc in the game, or you said I'm playing this tonight.
Last time I put the disc in, I want to say like 2 or 3 months ago, maybe. It's been a while. I was
Okay.
playing a lot about a year and a half ago in those
Okay.
THC servers on Xbox.
Right.
We used to hop in there.
So what about your streaming? When the next time you're gonna stream?
I don't really have. I know you have like a schedule. I don't have a schedule. Like my content, my channel, like my personal. I'm not talking our clan because I'm not like the end all be all. I don't have the full say on what goes on there.
But
Like
you're like
my
a
personal.
spokesperson though for our clan, right?
Oh, of course, I'm one of
Okay.
I'm a co-founder, and like on Xbox, everybody knows who I am. You know who I am at this point. I have a little
Right.
bit of a reputation, you know. So obviously I go around and you see him on the subreddit like posting logos like a troll.
Right. Right.
But I'm not like the end all be all. Like some people, they want to go on the Reddit and say, oh, like that's Lemon Zester's clan. It's not my clan. Like I'm a co-founder, but
Right.
it's disrespectful to everybody else. My personal channel, I stream when I feel like streaming. I post content. I do montages when I feel like doing montages.
Right.
I make like auto-tune like speech videos like Anthony. You have failed to apologize.
Right. Right.
when I feel like it. And that's
Right.
one of the things with my channel where it's like you never really know what you're gonna get.
Right. I
And
understand.
and sometimes I don't know what you're gonna get. I wake up that day, I'm like, it's what
Yeah.
we're doing.
It's usually
You know?
somebody telling me, "Oh, hey, well, so and so made another." You know what I mean? That's usually when I find out, but I don't usually like.
Anthony, you have 24 hours to apologize, or you will
Right.
face the full firepower.
I was like, so that voice is what are you mimicking with that voice? And he's like
I
an
don't
Asian
know.
voice, or
It
he's
just
just
sounded,
whatever.
it sounded cool, man.
Oh,
It
okay.
sounded
What
cool.
app do you use to make those little Avenger videos?
It's an auto tune app.
Auto tune app.
On like my phone that I use. It's called like the Local or something. I have
Okay.
like sophisticated stuff on computers, but like sometimes I'll just be like, I work at a bank.
Right.
Like everybody knows that about me, like my personal life. I work at a bank, and sometimes it's like really slow, and I'll just be like at work, and I just write down like a few lines. And I'm like, yeah, that sounds good. Let me go into my car and like say it on the auto tune app, see how that sounds.
Right. Oh my
You
God.
know.
I got. All right. So I got you. I got you. So what editing software do you use if you make these videos? and
I
put them
got
together?
some things on PC.
You use
I got
Mac or do
sometimes I
you use Windows?
Nah, I use Windows.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's nothing too crazy.
Do you
Just,
play
use
anything
some
else?
things.
Do you play any other games besides Battlefield?
Yes, I used to play FIFA a lot. I used to be top 100 on pro clubs.
Are you
On
playing?
FIFA,
Are
on
you
multiple
playing
FIFAs.
FC
I don't play anymore.
24? Are you gonna play FC
No, a
24?
lot of I played. So I play with like my personal friends. They like everybody's starting to kind of grow up. So like none of them really play FIFA too much anymore. They don't play as much. Like we used to be like top 1,000, top 100. On FIFA. I love Halo a lot, although Halo Infinite is pretty lame. I call it Halo Infinite Losers. That's just
Right.
my nickname for it.
Right.
I play Call of Duty. Big Call of Duty rank guy. Anybody who wants to play Call of Duty rank, shoot me an invite.
Which one?
I
Which
got
one?
good
Modern
ping.
Warfare 2 or which
Yeah,
version?
Modern Warfare 2.
Oh, okay.
Modern Warfare 2 ranked. I got 1,000 download, 1,000 upload. Shoot me an invite. I won't
Is
lag
it
out and I'll
the
carry you.
one, the recent one? We talking about the new one?
Yeah, the
Okay.
new one, yeah.
Okay.
I like the old ones. I like Rocket League. I like a lot of things. I play a lot of things.
I gotcha, man.
I'm not just
Too
on
bad you
like
don't
I'm
play
not
no
just on
fighting
like
games. You
Battlefield.
don't play no fighting games, right?
You know, the thing with the fighting games is, I know you play them. It's like if you and like I'm such a competitive person. It's like you gotta really like know what you're doing on there. Like there's people they buy the game and they just press all the buttons. You know what I mean?
Right.
But you gotta really know what you're doing with the combinations and the blocking and all this and that.
Yeah.
And it's and you got the people that they're kind of good, but they just spam the same move every time because it's like broken or overpowered.
Right.
But like you gotta really know how to play the fighting games, you know, and then do the parries and all the stuff. Like I don't want to just buy it just to like mush the buttons. That's not me. I know a lot of people that have fun with that. You know, they're like Hadouken, and they press
Yeah.
like 5 buttons like really quick. That's not me.
Right. Yeah, I understand. It's very
Everything I do
niche.
in life, I try to do it at like a high level for the most part. So it's not really for me. I
Yeah.
would get into it. It's just I don't have the time to get into it. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like to get really good at it.
Right. I got you. Okay. Do you have any other questions you want to ask me? And then we're gonna wrap
Any
it up.
other questions
Yeah.
that I want to ask you? That's a good question. Let me think here. I don't really have anything like to ask you. I just want to like say thank you to you for like having a little conversation here, making it available for anybody that like wants to see it to go out and see it.
Right.
Like I never really had a personal problem with you. I know like I have like a little bit of a reputation on Xbox, but I never had it was never like a personal thing with you. So yeah, I mean, I honestly hope that like we can be like friends. Like I don't care. Like you're welcome to hop in the Xbox party like at any time. I don't care. Like you're cool with me.
Yeah, man.
From like a personal standpoint. I think we got past like a lot of the issues that we had. I'll say this much. Like I don't like people that kick and ban a lot of people, which you never really kicked and banned a lot of people. I think just like, and I'm not trying to call you out or anything. But I think something like a little minor thing with you. If like when something happens and you're like, oh, like they're one shot hacking or like they're cheating, just like know that you have a voice. Like the same way that I have a voice and you see me pull up with like four, five, six, seven people on you, like and I have a voice. Like you have a voice as well as you're starting to grow your channel, and just kind of watch out, especially since the player base is so low.
Yeah, of course,
Like
of
kind of like when
course.
you know when you call somebody out like that. But like yeah, you know, like
Yeah,
you're
but
cool,
you know
man.
it's
Look,
funny that other people call other people out all the time, which is hilarious
no, I know.
in the chat. But that's the whole point. You know what I mean? You
And
need
I don't
people
like
to
those
kind of
people either, man. There's people
right.
in your. Sometimes I see people in your stream
There's
like,
people
oh,
that
like
like that.
so and so's cheating, and I'm like, and I'm looking at it, and I'm like, that person is like definitely not cheating. But
Right.
here's another thing. Here's another thing. I know we're wrapping up. There's a lot of people that like they don't really have a full understanding of the game, and like I know like you're not like a B flag player or anything like
Yeah, I'm
that,
not, dude.
but the better you get at Battlefield 3 and 4, you start to see the game like differently.
You're
You
right.
start to notice like the errors that like other players that aren't as good as you start to
Right.
make. And then when people are like, oh, like so and so are cheating, and then you see
Right.
like their score, like the person that's making the accusations going like 15 and 20, you're like, what are you talking about?
Right.
Like what? Like what? So you know, sometimes I see some people on your stream and like on the comments. Not always. Your comment, your people are like usually pretty nice. We're like, oh, like that person might be cheating. Like no, they're
Right.
not. No, they're
Right.
not. It happens. It happens on PC a lot when you
Yeah.
people can type in the chat.
Yeah.
You have these people that they can't buy a kill, and then you got the guy that's going like 50 and 0. Like, oh, that guy's cheating. Like shut up.
Yeah. No, dude, it's ridiculous. I remember one time someone called me a wall hacker, and I'm
It
like,
happens on PC a lot.
I was like, well, you know, he probably knew at the game, and he don't understand, like, you know, like I've watched so many high level players play, cause that's what I'll do on my, like, if I'm like at work or maybe on break, sometimes I'll watch a high level person that recorded their entire gameplay and just watch how they look at specific corners or how they approach specific like doorways on Metro. And I'm just like, this guy knows where the specific, like where typically where people are gonna hide or camp, or you know what I mean, look out for somebody coming or into one side or which side. So I look at those things and I try to implement it in my strategy. So like people think like, oh, this guy is just wall hacking, you know, because I'm specifically looking for those areas. So
if you ever want to talk strategy with me, man, like feel free. Like not to toot my own horn, but like
no, I'm sure
I
you
can,
have
it's
you have a
on
lot of
Metro,
strategy. You have a lot
on
of
Metro and like
of
Bazaar.
experience.
Like we can talk like for like days on like angles and stuff and like what
Yeah.
the best side is, and, like this and that. You know, so just let me know.
Yeah, no, I would love to do that because I've already thought about that because that's another because look, I get pretty bored really easily when it comes to playing a game. I don't like playing easy games. If a game is too easy for me, I don't play it anymore. Or if I play a character, like for example, if I play a fighting game, if I pick a character that's too easy, I get bored and I pick another character. I hate it when a character that I play is that's considered low tier and then they get buffed all of a sudden. I hate it because then everybody tries to. It becomes trend to pick that character, and then I lose and I get bored of the game at that point. I have to find a new team, or I gotta pick another character that makes it, unique to me. So like I like the whole idea of the strategy or trying to play a match with an underpowered weapon or try to or like the one I've done it a few times where I'm like, okay, I'm gonna pick the engineer class and I'm gonna run the bow and try to play strategically as an engineer class and play
Yeah.
effectively. How can you play effectively, right, and still help your team out. So
Yeah.
but this would be something we could definitely do. Also, for the people watching, I apologize. The stream is lagging to them because I think I'm not playing a game and it's like feeding right. It's feeding like right directly to the stream, and there's like it's catching up, but it should be fine because there's no errors or anything. So I think once the stream ends, everybody should be able to watch it, just fine. So I really apologize about it. But yeah, man, I appreciate you coming by, man. Thank you so much for like Lemon coming and talking and stuff. So I just wanted to do this and kind of just make people understand like we shouldn't be having any beef anyways. I don't want to have any beef. It's entertaining for some people. Some people like that stuff. I'll let it ride for a little bit. But I want everybody to kind of get along. You know what I mean? We can
I'm
move
the
on
same
from
way,
this.
man.
So
I'm a big kumbaya person, man. I'm a big kumbaya person. But I'll say this: I think the difference between me and you is that like when I feel like we gotta draw a line, and I draw a line. I set on the fire, man. The fire gets turned on to high heat. Like I'm not afraid to do something in terms of the beef, but like I'm somebody that obviously I wanna be friends with everybody. I want everybody to be cool. So like I said, like you're cool in my books. Like I think we squashed most of the issues. So
yeah,
I'm happy
absolutely.
about that.
Absolutely. Yeah, man. So yeah, you're definitely good. You guys are more than welcome to play on the server if you guys want to play. You guys can also tell me if you guys want to play Metro. Just let me know. Like you guys can just play it on there. I'll set it
It's
up.
your server, and you
So
put it whatever you want to put.
I
My
prefer.
people, I told my people just make sure like y'all keep the server like even. Don't all hop on the same team.
Yeah, just and I noticed they started doing that. So like, just make it balanced, make it fun for everybody. You know what I mean? I think it's more fun to kind of like play on one team, and once the one team gets all the flag or they catch, then I'll switch. I think it's more fun that way to kind of just go back and forth. So, but yeah,
No,
like,
I'll tell you this. So if camp hops in there, we're all going on the other team, and then you on there,
well,
and you have to. If you have to do what you have to do, then you're gonna do what you have to do.
Just-
but you're gonna join the server, and you're gonna see like 11 hours like on one team. And you're gonna see camp on the other
I mean,
team.
don't do that to
I'm
him.
not gonna promise you. I'm not gonna promise you that we're not gonna do that now, my boy. But you see, I'm an honest guy. You're gonna hop in the server. You're gonna be like, what is going on here? Okay, but everybody else is we're gonna keep it even, Steven.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to be the
Everybody else is gonna keep it even.
peacekeeper here to a
That's why you see
degree.
Camp hiding. That's why you see Camp hiding in the server because he knows. He's been playing with me for over 10 years. He knows what's going on. He knows the plots.
Yeah. I'm
So,
sure. I'm
you
sure
know.
he doesn't really care that much, but that's fine.
Oh no, he cares. Trust me, I know he cares. So that's fine. We can talk about it off stream.
Right. All right. Well, that's gonna be it for you guys. Appreciate everybody coming by, man. Thank you so much, Lemon Zester. We're gonna end the stream here. So apologize again for the lag for some of the people. Hopefully, you guys can rewatch it and it'll flow just fine. So, but yeah, guys, it's gonna be it. Appreciate everybody coming by. Thank you so much, and I'll catch y'all in the next one.
Spotted a hostile soldier in your AO. Over.
We'll head after him with the carrier and capture him on the ground. It's our chance to find out the purpose of Operation M.
Any chance he'll blow himself up?
He's made it all the way to Earth. He's not going to commit suicide before setting foot on it.